In my past life, I gave up my guaranteed flight and braved the torrential rain to deliver my best friend her admission ticket. She turned around and filmed a video, crying that I had deliberately dawdled and ruined her exam. The video racked up millions of views, and the internet piled on with overwhelming abuse. My parents' hair turned white overnight, and they both ended up in the ICU. When I opened my eyes again, there was a frantic message on my phone. Nyen nyen, I left my admission ticket in the classroom, can you go get it for me? I turned off my phone and fastened my seatbelt. As the plane took off, I smiled. June 7th, 5:43 a.m. Pei Nyenyu was jolted awake by a violent bumping motion. Her back of the head had knocked against the car window, and the sharp pain pierced through her temples. She instinctively raised a hand to touch it, fingertips meeting the cold glass. Outside, the sky was dim and gray, and the orange glow of the streetlights kept receding one by one. In the front passenger seat, Su Rong turned back to glance at her. You're awake, sleep a little longer, there are still 40 minutes before we get to the airport. Airport, those two words hit her ears, and the blood in Pei Nyenyu's body seemed to have been frozen by a pause button. She looked down at herself, her school uniform, a white shirt, a navy pleated skirt, and the 4 characters, Zhenhua High School, embroidered on the left chest. A silver school badge was pinned to her chest, with the number Class 17, Grade 2024, on it. On her feet were a pair of white canvas shoes, with the laces tied neatly and properly. She held out her hand and turned it over, slender knuckles, with no scars. The burned scar from her previous life that had run from her wrist to the web between her thumb and index finger was gone. That was the burn she got from a hot water kettle while taking care of her mother in the hospital. Pei Nyenyu's pupils suddenly tightened. Nyenyu, Pei Jiang'an, who was driving, glanced at her through the rearview mirror. What's wrong? You look a little pale. She opened her mouth, but her vocal cords seemed to be rusted. The voice she managed was dry and hoarse. What day is it? June 7th, the first day of the college entrance exam, Pei Jiang'an said with a laugh. You're a direct admission student, so you don't have to sit the exam, yet you're more nervous than anyone. June 7, the first day of the college entrance examination, the day she was supposed to report to Tsinghua University. It was also the day Qingyao forgot to bring her admission ticket. Pei Nyenyu's hands began to shake. She clenched her skirt, her fingernails digging into her palm. That pain was real, burning all the way up along the nerves and through the locked gate of her memory. Scenes from her previous life surged in like a flood, her figure running to school in the pouring rain, her soaked hair plastered to her face, her shoes filled with water, each step making a squelching, squish, squish sound. The expression on Qingyao's face when she took the exam admission ticket at the entrance to the test center, her eyes were red, her lips pressed tightly together, her voice trembling. Nyen nyen, thank you, you're my best friend. What happened later? Later, she missed her flight. The counselor from Tsinghua University called, and his tone shifted from gentle to businesslike. Student Pei, there is a specified time for registration. You did not explain the reason for your absence in advance. We need to report this situation to the college. She still wasn't panicking at the time. She thought that as long as she explained everything clearly, it would be fine. What truly brought everything crashing down was that video 3 days later. Qingyao cried into the camera, her makeup smudged, the tip of her nose red, her voice breaking in sobs. I called her countless times to urge her, and she kept saying she was on the way. On the way. By the time she got her admission ticket, the exam had already been going on for 40 minutes. I know she's an exempted admittee, she doesn't have to take the exam, so she didn't care at all. The comments section exploded. What kind of trash friend is this? Just because you're not taking the exam, does that mean you can disregard someone else's future? People who get guaranteed admission will never understand the pain of ordinary students. People like this deserve to have their guaranteed admission revoked. 1 million views, 1 million within 3 days. Pei Nyenyu's name, school, and the university she was guaranteed admission to were all dug up. Tsinghua University received hundreds of complaint letters. Her character is questionable and she is not suitable for guaranteed admission. The guaranteed admission quota was revoked. On the day the news came, Pei Jiang'an failed to catch his breath and collapsed straight in the living room. Su Rong cried so hard she could barely breathe, and her blood pressure shot up to 200. After which she was carried away by an ambulance. And what about Qingyao? Pei Nyenyu sent her 97 messages, every single one of them vanished without a trace. For the 98th message, the system prompt said, the other party has blocked you. Nyen nyen, nyen nyen. Su Rong's voice pulled her back to reality. What are you spacing out about? Your face is as pale as this. Pei Nyenyu gasped sharply. The air inside the car carried the smell of leather seats, mixed with the faint gardenia perfume on Su Rong. The radio was airing the morning news, the host speaking in a steady pace. Today is the first day of the 2024 National College Entrance Examination, and it is expected that 32,000 candidates across the city will enter the test centers. Her phone lit up, a WeChat message popped up on the screen. The profile picture was a pink bunny, and the note name was marked, Yao Yao. Nian Nian, I left my admission ticket in the classroom, can you help me go get it, immediately? After the second message, please, Nian Nian, I only realized I forgot it when I got to the exam center. The classroom key is with the class monitor, and I can't get in touch with her. You're close to the school, could you help me pick it up? The third message was a string of crying face emojis. The fourth message said, you're the one I trust the most. Pei Nianyu stared at these 4 messages, her finger pressed against the screen, motionless. What was her first reaction when she saw these messages in her previous life? She remembered it very clearly. Without even thinking, she shouted, Dad, turn around. Yao Yao forgot to bring her admission ticket. Pei Jiang'an said nothing and immediately turned the steering wheel. Su Rong, in the front passenger seat, was so anxious that she kept wringing her hands, muttering, then hurry up, or you'll be late for the exam. Your flight. Just change it, change it. It's fine to spend a little money. They didn't even hesitate for a second, because they were good people, because they believed helping a friend was only right and proper. Because they didn't know that the girl named Cheng Yao would use a video to ruin their daughter's life, and, along the way, send them to the hospital. Nianyu, Su Rong really turned around, and on her face was an expression Pei Nianyu knew all too well, anxious, kind, and unreservedly well-meaning. Did your friend forget their admission ticket? Then let's, no. Pei Nianyu's voice was not loud, but it was extraordinarily steady. The car fell silent for a moment. Pei Jiang'an looked at her in the rearview mirror. Su Rong was also stunned. Nian Nian, I said I'm not going. Pei Nianyu locked her phone, tucked it into the side pocket of her backpack, and zipped it up. We're already on the road. It's too late to go back. If she's in a hurry, she can call the police or find a teacher. Su Rong opened her mouth. But, she's your best friend. What if she, Mom? Pei Nianyu raised her head. Su Rong met her daughter's eyes, and the words on the tip of her tongue got stuck. There was no hesitation, no conflict, no panic that an 18-year-old girl should have when facing a friend's plea for help. There was only a strange calmness that did not belong to someone her age. My flight takes off at 8:30, Pei Nianyu said word by word. I've waited 3 years for the registration at Huqing University. She paused for a moment, her voice softening, yet becoming even more resolute. No one's admission ticket is worth me trading mine for. The carriage fell silent for a few seconds. Pei Jiang'an glanced at Su Rong. Su Rong pressed her lips together, turned back around, and said nothing more. The steering wheel was not turned. The car continued forward along the airport expressway. The phone buzzed a few more times in the backpack. Pei Nianyu didn't take it out to look. She knew that was Cheng Yao's barrage of follow-up questions. In my previous life, those messages filled 2 screens, their tone shifting from pleading to impatience, and finally into tearful voice messages. Nian Nian, where exactly are you? I'm about to go into the exam room. She had been so anxious that she was drenched in sweat and almost slipped and fell in the rain. Looking back now, it seems there was still a barely perceptible hint hidden at the end of those voice messages. What was it? Proud, Dad, drive a little faster. Pei Nianyu leaned back in his seat and closed his eyes. I want to get there early. Pei Jiang'an pressed the accelerator. The sky outside had brightened a little, with a gap torn open in the clouds. Light leaked through, spreading over the asphalt of the highway, shimmering brightly. At 6:45, I arrived at the airport. When Pei Nianyu dragged her suitcase into the departure hall, her phone lit up again. This time it wasn't WeChat, it was a phone call. Caller ID, Yao Yao. She stood in front of the check-in counter, her thumb hovering over the answer button, and paused for 2 seconds. Then she pressed reject. The screen went dark. She looked up at the check-in agent and smiled. Hello, I'd like to check in with my ID card. Pei Nianyu, after checking in and going through security, she sat on the plastic chair at the boarding gate and switched her phone to airplane mode. Before turning on airplane mode, she saw Cheng Yao's last message. Pei Nianyu, are you even human? We've been best friends for 12 years, and you won't even help me when I can't find my admission ticket. Do you think you're so great just because you've already been recommended for admission? Pei Nianyu stared at that message for 5 seconds, then I typed 5 characters. Call the police yourself. Sent. Flight mode. An announcement sounded. Passengers on flight CA 1893 to Jingzhou, Please line up at gate 22 for boarding. Pei Nianyu stood up, pulled up the handle of her suitcase, and walked into the jet bridge. The sky outside the window was already fully bright. Heat was rising from the runway, distorting the outline of the terminal building in the distance. She found her seat, sat down, fastened her seatbelt, and pulled the window shade all the way up. The plane's engines let out a low roar, and the fuselage began to taxi. Pei Nianyu watched the ground outside the window grow farther and farther away, smaller and smaller, the city beneath her feet, the place where she had grown up, the place where she had once desperately run around helping someone who wasn't worth it, was turning in her sight into a miniature sand table. A sour ache welled up in her nose. She bit the tip of her tongue and forced that ache back down. In her previous life, at this very time, she was squatting at the entrance of the duty room at Zhenhua High School, soaked through, waiting for the class monitor to come and open the classroom door. In this life, she was at an altitude of 30,000 feet, with a faint smell of coffee in the cabin as the flight attendant pushed the meal cart. "Miss, would you like coffee or orange juice?" "Orange juice, thank you." She took the cup and took a sip. It was sweet and cold, chilling her from the tip of her tongue all the way down to her stomach. Delicious. Pei Nianyu leaned back in her chair and closed her eyes. This time, no one would make her turn back. The flight landed at Taiyuan Airport in Jingzhou at 10:12 a.m. When Pei Nianyu walked out of the arrivals hall, the June sunlight came crashing down on her head, and heat rose up from the gaps between the floor tiles. She narrowed her eyes, stood by the curb pulling her suitcase, and took out her phone to turn off airplane mode. Messages flooded in like a downpour, unread on WeChat. 47 messages, 31 of them were from Qingyao. The first 10 messages were all urging me to hurry, with an urgent tone, mixed with voice messages and text. Starting with the 11th message, the tone changed. "Are you deliberately not answering your phone, Pei Nianyu? You've changed." The 15th message, "I've already found my admission ticket. Zhang Ting opened the door for me, but I was 8 minutes late. Do you know what 8 minutes means? Can't you reply to my messages a little faster?" The 20th message, "I totally messed up my first exam. Are you happy now?" The last one was sent 10 minutes ago, and it contained only 4 words. "Just you wait." Pei Nianyu read through all of these messages from beginning to end. In her previous life, she had never seen any of this, because in her previous life, she delivered it. She ran 3 blocks in a torrential downpour, slipped on a puddle and fell, scraping her knee until it bled, then got back up and kept running. The class monitor opened the classroom door, and she got her admission ticket, hailed a taxi, and rushed to the exam venue, arriving 17 minutes before the exam started. Qingyao was not late, but she still botched the exam. The last 2 big questions on the math paper were left blank, and half the answers on the English closed test were wrong. On the day the scores came out, the total score was only 3 points above the first-tier university cutoff. Then Qingyao posted that video. She cried into the camera, saying that Pei Nianyu had held her back. She said that because Pei Nianyu was dawdling, she was 20 minutes late and completely lost her composure. 20 minutes. The fact was that I arrived 17 minutes earlier, not a minute late, but in the video, the numbers had been changed. No one verified it. With 1 million views, the truth cannot outrun lies. Pei Nianyu put his phone back in his pocket and took a deep breath. Qingyao found her admission ticket. Zhang Ting helped open the door for her. She was 8 minutes late. 8 minutes. This number is different from the one in her previous life. In her previous life, Pei Nianyu personally went to get the admission ticket and delivered it to the exam hall, and Qingyao didn't even arrive a minute late. And what happened? She still flunked the exam and still shifted the blame. In this life, Pei Nianyu didn't go, and Qingyao was 8 minutes late, so what score would she get? Pei Nianyu suddenly wanted to know. No rush, let's go check in first. Huaqing University is in the western part of Jingzhou City, and it takes an hour and a half by subway. She dragged her suitcase and changed trains twice, transferring from line 3 to line 7, and got out at the Huaqing Road station. The exit was right opposite the south gate of Huaqing University. In her previous life, she had never seen this gate. The gate wall was built of gray bricks, with tall French plane trees on both sides. Their leaves layered so densely they formed a dome overhead, and sunlight filtered through the gaps, scattering shards of gold across the ground. Above the lintel were 4 large characters, Huaqing University. The calligraphy was ancient and elegant, with sharp, forceful strokes. It was said to have been personally written by the university president in the year the school was founded. Pei Nianyu stood at the doorway, looking up for a long time. In her previous life, these 4 words were a blurry photo on her phone wallpaper. She had seen them in the news, in promotional videos, and on the cover of her admission letter. She had just never seen them in real life. It was right in front of her now, built of stone, with its texture tangible to the touch. She reached out and touched the wall by the door. The rough, sun-heated texture came through at her fingertips. Her nose stung again. She blinked hard twice and dragged her suitcase inside. The registration process went very smoothly. The counselor was a young male teacher wearing metal-rimmed glasses, and when he smiled, his eyes curved into crescents. He introduced himself as He Ming, classmate Pei Nianyu. Did you bring all the required documents? Yes. Pei Nianyu handed over the document folder. He Ming flipped through them, checked them one by one, and finally put a checkmark on the roster. All right, you're the earliest one to register today. Your dorm is 207 in North Building 3. Get the key from the dorm manager. He looked up at her and asked, you came alone? Your parents didn't come with you? My parents are busy with work and couldn't get away. In fact, Pei Jiang'an and Su Rong had originally planned to take time off to accompany her, but Pei Nianyu refused. She couldn't explain why. Perhaps it was because of that final memory from her previous life. Su Rong lying on an ICU hospital bed, her face ashen, an oxygen tube inserted into her nostrils, her hands covered in bruised needle marks. Pei Jiang'an sat on a plastic chair in the hallway, his head buried in his knees, his shoulders shaking. His hair had turned completely white in just 3 days. Pei Nianyu didn't want to make them worry. All she could do now was stand here, standing at Tsinghua University. Properly, Beisan Dormitory was an old 6-story building, with the hallway filled with the smell of laundry detergent and old wood. Room 207 was around the corner on the 2nd floor. Pushing the door open, there were 4 sets of bunk beds, and by the desk near the window sat a girl, stacking books into the cabinet. Hearing the door, the girl turned to look over. Round face, short hair, a large pair of headphones hanging around her neck, and a black t-shirt with "Game Over" printed on it. You're in 207, Pei Nianyu, Jin Shuedong. The girl grinned at her, revealing a little canine tooth. Just call me Tong Tong. Which bunk do you want? The lower bunk by the window is still available. Pei Nianyu put down her luggage and sat on the lower bunk by the window. The mattress was a little hard, but clean, and the bedding, dried in the sun, had a warm, cozy smell. She suddenly felt at ease. It was real. She was really sitting in the dormitory of Tsinghua University. The phone buzzed again. She took it out and saw her mom's message. Su Rong, did you get there? How's the dorm? Is there hot water? Is the cafeteria far away? Pei Nianyu let out a soft laugh and typed back, I'm here. The dorm is a 4-person room. There's hot water, and the cafeteria is downstairs. Don't worry. Su Rong replied instantly. That's good, that's good. By the way, about that thing with Qing Yao, what did she say afterward? Pei Nianyu's fingers froze above the screen. What did she say? Just wait and see. She thought for a moment and replied, it's okay. She found it herself. Don't worry about it, Mom. Su Rong sent a hugging emoji, then sent another message. Remember to eat dinner tonight. Don't skimp on money. Pei Nianyu closed WeChat and opened Qing Yao's chat box. That, just you wait, was still sitting at the bottom, black background with white text. She stared at it for 3 seconds. In her previous life, Qing Yao had said something similar. In the pinned comments section of that video with over 1 million views, Qing Yao replied to a netizen, I just wanted everyone to know the truth. The truth? Pei Nianyu scrolled the chat box all the way to the top and started reading from the first message, one by one, all the way down, from the time we added each other as friends in 6th grade, all the way to the last, good luck tomorrow, on the eve of our senior year college entrance exam. Thousands of messages, spanning 6 years. She had never carefully looked through these chat records before, but now, with the memories of her previous life, looking at them again, some things had become glaringly obvious. For example, in 2nd year of middle school, the essay she wrote won first prize at the city level. The message Qing Yao sent was, wow, Nian Nian, you're amazing, followed by a string of clapping emojis. But 2 minutes before that message, what had Qing Yao said in another group, the one Pei Nianyu hadn't been added to? She didn't know. In the last 3 months of her previous life, a girl named Zhang Ting had come to see her and, stammering, said a few things. Nianyu, actually, Qing Yao, back in middle school, that essay of yours that won an award. She told quite a few people that she was the one who revised it for you. The version you wrote yourself was basically no good. When Zhang Ting said this, Pei Nianyu was lying on the bed in her rented room, so thin that only a layer of skin remained on her face. She no longer had the strength to verify it, but now she had time on her hands. Pei Nianyu exited the chat interface, opened her Notes app, and created a new note, typing 3 words in the title, Old Ledger. On the day the college entrance exam results were announced, Pei Nianyu was sitting by the window on the 3rd floor of the Tsinghua University Library. With a copy of Advanced Mathematics spread open in front of her, outside the window was the playground, where a few boys were playing basketball. The sound of the ball hitting the ground came up one bounce at a time, mingling with the chirping of cicadas. The phone screen suddenly lit up repeatedly. The high school classmates group chat exploded. The results are out. Has anyone checked? The provincial first-year cutoff is 527. It's over. It's over. I totally bombed math. Pei Nianyu had no scores to check. She was an admitted student and didn't take the college entrance exam, but she scrolled through the group chat and found the information she wanted to see. Someone had taken a screenshot of the report card and posted it in the group chat, a long list of names and scores arranged by total score. Her gaze swept from top to bottom. Qingyao, total score, 498, cutoff for the first-year line, 527, 29 points short. Pei Nianyu stared at that number, her thumb lightly rubbing across the screen. 498. In her previous life, Qingyao scored 501, 3 points above the first-year cutoff, but only enough to get into an obscure major at a bottom-tier first-tier university. I was 8 minutes late in this life and lost 3 points, only a 3-point gap. 8 minutes late, 3 points lost. In other words, compared with her previous life, when Pei Nianyu did everything he could to get her exam admission ticket there and not let her be late by even a minute, the result was only 3 points different. 3 points couldn't change anything. Qingyao's level is just that level, whether she was late or not. It was the same level. So the accusation in the video from my previous life, where she cried and said, I did badly on the exam, and it's all her fault, from beginning to end, it was just a lie. The group chat was still buzzing noisily about the scores. Someone had mentioned Qingyao. Yao. How much did you score? It took Qingyao a long time to reply, her tone flat. I underperformed. I don't want to talk about it. No one pressed further, but Pei Nianyu noticed that Qingyao immediately sent a second message, in another small group chat she didn't usually pay attention to. The screenshot had been privately forwarded to her by Zhang Ting. Qingyao, I could actually have done better. Something unexpected happened on the day of the college entrance exam, and I completely lost my composure. Someone asked, what unexpected thing? Qingyao, I don't want to talk about it. Anyway, some people, once they get admitted through recommendation, just pretend not to see whether others live or die. Zhang Ting added a message, Nianyu, take a look at this. Pei Nianyu enlarged the screenshot and looked at it once. A slight smile tugged at the corner of his mouth. Here it came. Sure enough, it had come. In my previous life, it was tearful confession videos with millions of views. In this life, it was sarcastic jabs in a small group chat. The scale was smaller, but the tactics were exactly the same. First, they played the victim, then they veiledly pointed at the culprit. Pei Nianyu thought for a moment and sent Zhang Ting a reply. Got it, thanks for telling me. Zhang Ting sent a hesitant emoji. Aren't you angry? What's the point of being angry? Pei Nianyu typed. If she wants to say it, let her. Zhang Ting didn't reply again. Pei Nianyu put down her phone and continued reading the book Advanced Mathematics, but her eyes swept across the same line of formulas 3 times, and she didn't take in a single word. She was thinking about one question. In her previous life, Qingyao posted that video 3 days after the exam results were released. The video was made very carefully. The background was her own bedroom. The lighting was warm. She appeared on camera wearing a white t-shirt and no makeup, crying so hard that pear blossoms were drenched by rain, yet speaking clearly and coherently, every sentence sounding as if it had been rehearsed. Could a girl who had just received her college entrance exam results and was supposedly utterly heartbroken make a video of that quality within 3 days? Pei Nianyu had never thought about this question in her previous life. She had been too busy proving her innocence, but now, looking back across the distance of a lifetime, the loopholes were so huge that a train could have driven right through them. Qingyao said that Pei Nianyu had made her 20 minutes late. In fact, she wasn't late by even a minute. There was surveillance at the entrance to the exam center. In her previous life, Pei Nianyu never had the chance to check the surveillance footage. Just as she found the exam center's academic affairs office, a tidal wave of online abuse hit her. Tsinghua University swiftly cancelled her guaranteed admission, and her world collapsed within 72 hours. But this life, she had time now. Pei Nianyu opened the memo and added a new line under Old Ledger, Exam Site. Surveillance, entry time, Then added another line, the video says 20 minutes late, verify the actual entry time, add one more line, was the admission ticket forgotten in the classroom or deliberately left in the classroom? Her fingertips paused slightly as her pen fell on this line. This thought had never once crossed my mind in my previous life, but after being reborn, with all my memories intact, I replayed every detail of that morning in my mind. Why had Qingyao's admission ticket been left in the classroom? The night before the college entrance exam, the school had organized a unified exam supplies check. Homeroom teacher Mr. Lin checked each student's admission ticket, ID card, and pencil case one by one, and only after confirming everything was correct did he let them go home. Qingyao's admission ticket was still in her hands the night before. After checking it, she put it into her backpack. The next morning, when she was about to leave, it was gone. How could this possibly be forgotten unless someone took the admission ticket back out of their backpack after checking it and put it back in the classroom? Who would do that? Pei Nianyu closed her eyes. The answer was too absurd, so absurd that when she first thought of it, her stomach lurched. What if Qingyao deliberately left her admission ticket in the classroom? The purpose was to get Pei Nianyu to deliver it, to make Pei Nianyu miss the flight, because she knew Pei Nianyu had been guaranteed admission to Tsinghua, because she couldn't stand Pei Nianyu going to Huaqing. Pei Nianyu opened her eyes. The sunlight outside the library window was glaringly white, stinging her eyes until they grew sore. She bolded the last line of the memo, find Teacher Lin and confirm the pre-exam check process. A week later, she called Teacher Lin. She called at noon. Teacher Lin was eating a boxed lunch in his office, and when he heard Pei Nianyu's voice, his chopsticks almost fell onto the table. Nianyu, how are things at Tsinghua? Are you getting used to it? Very well, teacher. Lin, I wanted to ask you something. Go ahead. For the materials inspection the night before the college entrance examination, did you check Qingyao's admission ticket? There was a 2-second silence on the other end of the line. I checked, yes, I checked them one by one, matched the names to the seats, and only left after signing off when I was done. Qingyao's admission ticket was fine, so what's wrong? After the check, did the students go straight home? Yes, after the check, school was over. Did anyone go back to the classroom? Teacher Lin thought for a moment. There actually was. Qingyao seemed to say she forgot her cup in the classroom and went back to get it once. I even waited a few minutes for her before locking the door. Pei Nianyu tightened her grip on the phone. Nianyu, why do you ask that? Nothing. I just suddenly remembered. Thanks, Teacher Lin. She hung up the phone. A thin layer of sweat broke out on my palms. I forgot the cup. Went back to get the cup. Then the admission ticket was transferred from the backpack to the classroom. Pei Nianyu wrote the latest information in her memo, then locked the screen. She closed her eyes, leaned back against the library chair, and took a deep breath. Outside the window, the sound of a basketball hitting the ground kept going. One bounce, then another. Qingyao, how much do you hate me? Exactly, at the beginning of July, the summer heat was so oppressive it left people wilted. Pei Nianyu spent 3 days holed up in the Tsinghua University Library, sorting through every chat record, every photo, and every memory she could think of involving Qingyao over the past 6 years, all arranged in chronological order. The result was horrifying. The grade 8 essay competition, the essay that Pei Nianyu won first prize in at the city level with, was titled, Walking Around the Corner. When she was told she had won in front of the school bulletin board, Qingyao stood beside her, clapping and saying, Nian, you're amazing. But later Zhang Ting said that Qingyao had privately told at least 3 people that she had helped revise the core paragraph of that article, and that the version Pei Nianyu wrote herself was completely unsalvageable. Pei Nianyu noted this down in her memo. Freshman sports meet. Pei Nianyu signed up for the 800-meter race, and Qingyao held her water bottle for her. 10 minutes before the race, Qingyao handed it to her. I added glucose to it to help replenish your energy. Pei Nianyu drank it. Then when she got to the 400-meter mark, she had a stomach cramp and squatted by the track to vomit. The school doctor said it was because she had drank highly concentrated sugar water on an empty stomach, which irritated her stomach lining. She withdrew from the competition that time. Qingyao held her up beside her, her eyes red. It's all my fault. I shouldn't have added so much sugar for you. At the time, Pei Nianyu comforted her. It's okay. It's not your fault. Now that I think about it, high concentration sugar water, on an empty stomach, 10 minutes before the competition, was that concern, or precise poisoning? At the end of her sophomore year, Pei Nianyu lost her English notes. It was the notebook she had spent an entire semester organizing, containing all her grammar summaries and wrong answers. It went missing 3 days before the final exams. She searched the classroom and her home from top to bottom, but couldn't find it. Qing Yao helped her look for it all afternoon, and in the end said, maybe the cleaning lady took it away as trash. On the final exams, Pei Nianyu's English ranking dropped from 1st in the grade to 9th. What about Qing Yao? She went from 15th in the grade to 7th. English. Pei Nianyu listed these things one by one in her memo. The text on the screen grew denser and denser, and her fingers turned colder and colder. 6 years, the things she had thought were mere coincidences. Over those 6 years, once arranged together, formed a meticulously woven net. Every time she was frustrated, made a mistake, or backed down, Qing Yao was there beside her. Every time, Qing Yao would say with red eyes, "It's all my fault," or "Don't blame me." Then she really didn't blame her anymore, because Qing Yao was her best friend. How could a friend ever hurt a friend? Pei Nianyu closed the memo and stood up to get a glass of water. The lukewarm boiled water went down her throat, so cold it made her teeth ache. She put the cup down, took out her phone, and opened Qing Yao's moments. Qing Yao's latest post was from yesterday. It was a photo of her sitting by the window, lost in thought, with the caption, "A summer vacation alone is so quiet." Someone in the comments asked what was wrong, and Qing Yao replied, "Nothing, it's just that some people have changed." Some people. Pei Nianyu let out a cold laugh. Another message popped up on her phone. It was from her high school classmate. He Jia and Pei Nianyu weren't especially close, but they got along quite well in class. She was a quiet girl, but very observant. He Jia, Nianyu, are you free? I want to tell you something. Pei Nianyu, go ahead. He Jia typed very slowly, as if carefully choosing his words. It took 3 minutes before he sent over a message. I didn't want to meddle in other people's business, but Qing Yao has been telling people in several group chats recently that on the day of the college entrance exam you stood by and did nothing, and that once you got into a guaranteed admission school, you looked down on everyone. I thought you should know. Then I remembered something. The night before the college entrance exam, after the materials check was over, I left pretty late. I saw Qing Yao come out of the classroom, holding her exam admission ticket. She wasn't holding a water bottle, she was holding her admission ticket. I didn't think much of it at the time, but when I connected it to what she said later, that she had left her admission ticket in the classroom, I felt something was off. Pei Nianyu stared at the screen, and her heart skipped a beat. She typed, "Are you sure what you saw was an admission ticket?" He Jia, I'm sure. That blue cardstock was very conspicuous, and there was a photo on it too. I was only 3 meters behind her, and when she came out, her expression was perfectly normal, as if she hadn't forgotten anything urgent. Pei Nianyu's fingers hovered above the screen for a long time. Then she typed a line, "Could you please not tell anyone else about this message for now?" He Jia, okay. Pei Nianyu put down her phone and walked to the window. Outside was watching Sycamore Avenue. The afternoon sunlight made the leaves glow translucently, and 2 students rode bicycles past beneath the shade of the trees, their laughter drifting over from afar. She took a deep breath, then slowly let it out. The chain of evidence was gradually taking shape. Teacher Lin's testimony. After the check was completed, Qing Yao returned to the classroom to get her water cup. He Jia's testimony. When Qing Yao came out of the classroom, what she was holding in her hand was her exam admission ticket. The logic points to one conclusion. Qing Yao put the exam admission ticket, after checking it and confirming it was correct, back into the classroom, on purpose. Then, the next morning, she called Pei Nianyu, her voice anxious and her tone earnest. Nian, I left my admission ticket in the classroom, can you help me go get it? She knew Pei Nianyu was going to take a flight to Huking to check in that day. She knew Pei Nianyu's flight schedule was tight. She knew Pei Nianyu had a soft heart and would definitely help. She knew Pei Nianyu's parents were even softer-hearted and would definitely turn back. She had calculated everything. The only thing she hadn't calculated was that Pei Nianyu had been reborn. Pei Nianyu stood by the window, one hand on the frame, her knuckles white. She didn't tremble, she didn't cry, she didn't impulsively post Hijia screenshots into the group chat. The most painful lesson she learned in her previous life was, impulsiveness would only give her enemies something to exploit. She had to wait for Qing Yao to make the first move herself. When she handed the rope to Qing Yao, she made her put it on herself. Pei Nianyu returned to the desk, opened her notes, and added a bold new title at the top, Evidence Archive, organized by timeline. Then she wrote a small line at the bottom, no rush, take your time. During her first semester at Tsinghua, Pei Nianyu lived very quietly. Classes, the library, and the cafeteria. Her life revolved around those 3 places. Her roommate Jean Shuadong was an esports enthusiast, spending every night gaming with a big pair of headphones on, occasionally blurting out things like, "That was worth it." The other two roommates, Shen Yaoqi and Fang Ziyi, one studied finance and the other law, and both had pretty good personalities, so the four of them got along without much friction. Pei Nianyu majored in computer science. This was the major she hadn't been able to study in her previous life. When she was at Zhenhua High School, she had a gift for programming. In her second year of high school, she won second prize in the National Youth Informatics Olympiad. Her guaranteed admission to Huaqing was through the informatics competition track, after her guaranteed admission was cancelled in her previous life. She had nowhere to study. She curled up in her rented room for 3 months, then went to work at a bubble tea shop. After standing for 8 hours until her legs went numb, she would flex her aching wrists while adding coconut jelly to the cups, listening to customers say, "Less ice, 70% sweetness," and change the straw to a paper one. She did not want to think about those days anymore. In this life, she sat in a Tsinghua classroom, listening to professors lecture on data structures and algorithm design. She learned quickly. By the end of her first semester of freshman year, her GPA ranked in the top 5 of the grade. At the grade assembly, Counselor He Ming called out her name. Classmate Pei Nianyu, first semester freshman GPA 387, fourth in the grade. With outstanding performance, she stood below the stage, showing no particularly special expression. She simply tucked her hands into her pockets and felt the warmth at her fingertips. Warm. Meanwhile, 1,000 kilometers away in her hometown, Qingyao had gone to a second-tier college to study marketing. Pei Nianyu learned this because Su Rong mentioned it in passing over the phone. "That classmate of yours, Qingyao, heard she went to Haidong College. Her mom ran into me at the vegetable market and said a couple of words." Su Rong's tone was very casual, with no particular emotion. In her view, her daughter had simply failed to help. The two girls had had a falling out, and things would be fine after a while. Pei Nianyu did not correct her. She only said, got it." But what Su Rong said next made her hand clench tightly. "By the way, Nian, did you know, your classmate Qingyao seems to have posted something online, saying something about the college entrance exam. Your dad saw it and got pretty angry, but it only got a few dozen likes, so hardly anyone saw it." Pei Nianyu's heart skipped a beat. What did it say? "I didn't look closely either. Your dad said to ignore her, just a kid." Venting a little, Pei Nianyu hung up the phone and opened Weibo. She typed, "Qingyao," into the search bar. This name was too common, and a bunch of irrelevant results came up. She changed the keyword to, "Zhenhua High School College Entrance Exam Admission Ticket." The third result, a short video platform link, posted by an account with the ID, Yao. She clicked in, video. Qingyao was sitting at the desk in her dorm room, with a desk lamp casting a warm light. She was wearing a gray hoodie, her hair casually tied back in a ponytail, barefaced, with slightly red eyes. The very first words she said were, "I don't know if I should say this, but I'm really upset." Pei Nianyu tightened her grip on the phone. Here it came, just like the exact same beginning in her previous life. Qingyao continued, "On the day of the college entrance exam, I left my admission ticket in the classroom. I called my best friend and begged her to bring it to me. She was on her way to the airport at the time. She had been admitted through recommendation, so she didn't have to take the exam." Paused for a moment, sniffled. She said, "No." She said she had to catch a flight. Paused again. "I don't blame her, really. Everyone has their own things to deal with." But her expression was saying, "I'm the weird one, but I was late, and my mindset totally collapsed. When the results came out, I was 29 points short of the first-tier university cutoff." She lowered her head and used the back of her hand to wipe the corner of her eye. "Sometimes I think, if she had helped me, would things have been different, but I can't think that way, right? After all, she was a guaranteed admission student." The video ends. Likes, 320, comments, 47, views, a little over 6,000. Pei Nianyu scrolled through the comments from top to bottom. "Feels sorry for you, sis. What kind of friend is that? She got admitted without the exam and then stopped caring about others. You can't be friends with people like that, sis. Don't be sad. There's still graduate school entrance exams later." There were also different voices. "Isn't it your own responsibility to bring your admission ticket? If you forget it, how can you blame others? They have their own arrangements for guaranteed admission. Why should they have to help you? Why is this streamer always so sarcastic and passive-aggressive? If you've got something to say, just say it." But all the comments after that were downvoted and ended up at the very bottom. Pei Nianyu read through all the comments and exited the video. 6. thousand views. In my previous life, it was 1 million, this time, because Pei Nianyu didn't go to deliver the exam admission ticket and there was no slacking off material to work with. Qing Yao's script was watered down. She couldn't say, Pei Nianyu delivered it late and caused me to be late, so she could only say, Pei Nianyu wouldn't help. The damage of wouldn't help was more than 10 times weaker than deliberately hurting me, but Qing Yao still posted it. She still ended up taking the same path. Pei Nianyu's lips twitched. It wasn't a smile, but something colder. 6,000 views. In my previous life, this video went from a few hundred views to 1 million in 3 days. What is the catalyst? It was Qing Yao's amazing move in the comments section. She accidentally revealed Pei Nianyu's full name and school there, triggering a second wave of spread. The curiosity, sense of justice, and love of gossip among bystanders were ignited, and a large number of marketing accounts followed suit and reposted it. Is she planning to keep doing this for the rest of her life? Pei Nianyu thought it over and didn't rush to do anything. She saved the video link in her notes, then she turned on the screen recording function and recorded the entire video from beginning to end, even taking screenshots of the comments section, and saved everything in an encrypted folder. The evidence was safely stored. Then she thought of a question. In her previous life, how did Qing Yao's video grow from 6,000 views to 1 million? Was it spread naturally, or was someone boosting it? She opened another search engine and entered a few keywords: short video promotion, buying views, paid troll comments. There were many search results. One of them was titled, How to Spend 500 Yuan to Buy 100,000 Views. Pei Nianyu looked at that title and suddenly understood something. In my previous life, Qing Yao was just an ordinary college student, with no fan base and no experience in operations. The videos she shot had average image quality and rough editing. How could they possibly break 1 million views in just 3 days, unless someone had given them a push from behind, spending money to buy views, comments, and reposts, then disguise it as an organic viral hit? Qing Yao's family was well off. Her father was in the building materials business, not fabulously rich, but a few thousand yuan in promotion fees was definitely affordable for him. Pei Nianyu added one line to the memo: confirm whether the video shows any signs of paid promotion. She closed her phone and walked to the window. Jingzhou in December was already very cold, and the breath she exhaled condensed into a thin layer of mist on the glass. She wrote 2 words in the mist with her fingertips, then she wiped them away. Those 2 words were, Qing Yao. During winter break, Pei Nianyu did not go home. She told Su Rong that there was a winter camp program at school and that she needed to stay on campus to take part. Su Rong felt sorry for a long time on the phone. You're not coming back even for the new year. Your dad has already bought ribs and is ready to make soup for you. Pei Nianyu said, Mom, this project will be useful for getting recommended for graduate school later. I'll go back to see you and Dad next semester. She had indeed signed up for a winter camp, the cybersecurity and data analysis winter camp at the School of Computer Science, Tsinghua University, which lasted 2 weeks, but the real reason she stayed on campus was to do one thing: trace the spread of that video of Qing Yao. Watching School of Computer Science has the best laboratory in the country. As one of the top 5 students in her grade, Pei Nianyu had access to the data analysis tools for upperclassmen. She spent 3 days writing a simple web crawler program to collect all the dissemination data for Qing Yao's video from the time it was posted to the present: view count trends, comment timing distribution, repost nodes, and engagement rates. The results were very interesting. The video was posted at 8 p.m. on November 17. For the first 2 days, the view count rose at a normal pace, averaging 200 to 300 views per day. On the 3rd day, the views suddenly surged, from 600 straight up to 8,000. Pei Nianyu enlarged the data for the 3rd day. Between 2 and 4 a.m., 7,300 views poured in within those 2 hours, from 2 to 4 in the morning, the time when normal people are asleep, along with the surge in views. During those 2 hours, more than 300 comments also flooded into the comments section during the same period. Pei Nianyu randomly sampled 50 of them. Of these 50 comment accounts, 37 were registered within the same week. Their profile pictures were either the default gray avatar or random landscape photos pulled from the internet, and their bios were all blank, aside from commenting under Qing Yao's videos. These accounts had no other interaction history. Astroturfing. Textbook-level astroturfing. Pei Nianyu saved all the data screenshots into an encrypted folder, numbered them, and stamped them with the time. Then she continued looking further back. It took a week for the views to rise from 8,000 to 60,000, then drop from 60,000 to 20,000. Wait a minute, she looked over the data again. After the views hit 8,000, the subsequent growth slowed down. So far, the total views have stalled at around 12,000, nowhere near the 1 million from my previous life, because in this life, the video's content is far less damaging. She won't help me, and she deliberately tried to hurt me, are bombs of two very different levels. Qingyao bought online trolls to boost the first wave of data, but natural spread didn't keep up. Online trolls can only buy numbers, they can't buy genuine outrage. Pei Nianyu leaned back in her chair and let out a long breath, but she didn't relax, because her experience from her previous life told her. Qingyao would not let this go. After the first attempt failed, she would definitely find a way to intensify it. Maybe she would upgrade her tactics, maybe she would directly expose Pei Nianyu's information, he might make up even more serious accusations. Pei Nianyu didn't know what the next step would be, but she knew Qingyao's pattern: always play weak first, cry first, say, I don't blame her, then, accidentally, leak more information in the comments. Step by step, he pushed public opinion toward the uncontrollable. Pei Nianyu made a list in the memo. Evidence collected. 1. Teacher Lin's testimony. On the eve of the college entrance exam, Qingyao returned to the classroom to get her water cup. 2. He Jia witnessed. Qingyao came out of the classroom holding her admission ticket. 3. Comparison of college entrance exam scores. 501 points in the previous life when she wasn't late, 498 points in this life when she was 8 minutes late. A difference of 3 points, proving that being late was not the main reason for the poor result for Qingyao. Video dissemination data. Paid bot promotion existed, with a large amount of fake engagement at 2 a.m. 5. Qingyao's past behavior summary, the junior high school essay incident, the freshman year sports meet incident, and the sophomore year notebook loss incident. She looked at the list, and the scales in her heart remained steady, but one thing was still missing: direct evidence. At present, all the evidence was indirect: He Jia's eyewitness account, Teacher Lin's corroboration, and the data analysis. Take any one of them on its own, and it could be explained as a coincidence or a misunderstanding. She needed a hammer, the kind that could settle things with one blow. Pei Nianyu thought about it for a long time, then she picked up her phone and dialed a number. The phone rang 3 times before it was answered. Nianyu. He Jia's voice sounded a little surprised. Did you need something from me, Jia? Can you do me a favor? You say, do you still keep in touch with Qingyao? He Jia fell silent for a second. Sometimes we chat in the group. What's wrong? Could you find a chance to casually talk to her about the college entrance exam day? Just bring it up very naturally. He Jia did not answer right away. After a few seconds, she said, You mean you want to? I just want to confirm one thing. Pei Nianyu's voice was very calm. You don't need to steer her on purpose. Just bring it up casually. For example, something like, you must have been really nervous when you forgot your admission ticket in the classroom, right? See how she reacts. Okay, He Jia agreed. Give me a few days, no rush. Pei Nianyu said, just be natural. Thank you, Jia. After hanging up, Pei Nianyu put her phone on the desk. Snow had begun to fall outside the window. The snow in Jingzhou was very fine, scattering down from the gray, overcast sky like grains of salt, landing on the windowsill in little specks and quickly melting into water stains. Pei Nianyu watched the process of that snow melting and suddenly remembered something. In her previous life, before Qingyao shot that video, she had sent her a message, just one: Nian, I'm really upset, can you talk to me? At the time, Pei Nianyu was in her rental apartment eating instant noodles. When she saw that message, she put down her chopsticks and called back right away. After the call connected, Qingyao cried for half an hour. Pei Nianyu comforted her for half an hour. She said, it's not your fault, you didn't do badly on the exam, and there's still a chance to repeat the year. She didn't know that the phone call had been recorded. 3 days later, Qingyao edited a few lines from the call recording and added them to the video. Pei Nianyu herself said she knew it was her responsibility. What Pei Nianyu actually said was, it's not your fault, I should have been faster that day. This comforting remark was taken out of context and turned into a confession, and it was only when the video's views surpassed 500,000 that Pei Nianyu learned about it. By then, it was already too late. In this life, Pei Nianyu looked at the snow outside the window, and the corners of her mouth curved slightly. You'll never record it in this lifetime, because I won't answer that call again. In mid-March, on a Thursday night 2 weeks after school started, Pei Nianyu was in the dorm writing code. Jean Xuedong was wearing headphones and playing ranked matches. Shen Yaoqi was memorizing French words, and Fang Ziyi had gone to the library. My phone vibrated. News from Hijia, Nianyu. There's an update. Pei Nianyu's fingers hovered above the keyboard. Say. Hijia sent a voice message transcribed into text. It was a screenshot of the WeChat chat records between her and Cheng Yao, with the timestamp showing last night. Hijia casually brought it up. By the way, Yao, you said that on the day of the college entrance exam, you forgot your admission ticket in the classroom. How did you end up getting it? I've forgotten, Cheng Yao replied quickly. Zhang Ting opened the door for me and got it. Hijia, oh, right. Weren't you supposed to have checked it the night before? How could you have forgotten it in the classroom? Cheng Yao typed a little more slowly. It took nearly a minute before she replied. Well, I just forgot, that's all. After I checked it, I stuffed it into my backpack. Maybe I didn't put it in properly. And it fell onto the desk. Hijia immediately followed up with a seemingly unrelated question. Didn't you go back to the classroom to get your water bottle that day? Didn't you happen to see it then? After this sentence was sent, the other side remained silent for a long time, 2 minutes, then Cheng Yao sent a voice message. Hijia transcribed the voice message into text and sent it to Pei Nianyu. How did you know I went back to get my water cup? The tone changed from relaxed to wary. Hijia replied very quickly. Teacher Lin just mentioned it casually. Before, she said you were the last one to leave that day. Cheng Yao was silent for a while longer, then sent, oh, it's been so long I can't even remember. Enough about that, I'm going to take a shower. The conversation ended there. Pei Nianyu saved this screenshot into an encrypted folder, then she stared at Cheng Yao's line. How did you know I went back to get my water cup? For a full minute, if the admission ticket was really forgotten, then going back to the classroom to get a water cup was an irrelevant detail. If someone brought it up, the normal reaction should have been, yeah, I can't believe I didn't notice then, or, I was too anxious at the time. It wouldn't be, how did you know? These 4 words exposed everything. She panicked, the first reaction of someone who has done something guilty when the core details are brought up, not an explanation, but a question about where the other person got the information, because she needed to know whether anyone had seen through her. Pei Nianyu turned off her phone screen. The chain of evidence was already basically complete, but she was still waiting for Cheng Yao to make the first move. She didn't plan to be the one to make the first move. Her experience from her previous life told her that in a war of public opinion, the one who strikes first controls the narrative, but if the one who strikes first is proven wrong, the backlash will be multiplied. She wanted Cheng Yao to blow the situation up herself. The bigger she made it, the more disastrous the fallout would be. Pei Nianyu waited for 2 weeks. 2 weeks later, on April 1st, what a coincidence, April Fool's Day, Cheng Yao made her move. She posted a second video. This time, she wasn't crying alone in front of the camera. She found 3 classmates to appear in the video with her. They sat together as if they were chatting, and the atmosphere looked very natural. One of the girls said, I think you should tell the truth, otherwise, if she keeps enjoying all this glory, it's far too unfair to you. Cheng Yao lowered her head, her voice trembling. I don't want to, after all, she was my friend, she used to be. Another girl said, what kind of friend is that? She got admitted without exams, and still wouldn't even help you deliver your admission ticket. You failed the exam, and she didn't even say sorry. The third girl added fuel to the fire. I heard she's doing really well at Tsinghua, top 5 in her grade. Look at her. Then look at yourself. Cheng Yao was silent for a moment, then lifted her head, her eyes red. Her name is Pei Nianyu. We used to be best friends. A name, this time. She said a name. In my previous life, it was accidentally leaked in the comments section. In this life, I said it directly in the video. Pei Nianyu looked at the image on the screen of her own name coming out of Cheng Yao's mouth, her face showing no expression. 2 hours after the video was posted, views, 800, comments, 23. Most of them were interactions from Cheng Yao's alternate accounts or from those 3 classmates, feeling sorry for Yao. Keep it up, people like that aren't worth it. 800 views. There were no paid trolls. Maybe Cheng Yao felt that spending money last time didn't work well, so this time she wanted to see how it spread organically first. Maybe because she directly named students from Tsinghua University, she was afraid of being held accountable and wanted to test the waters on a small scale first. Pei Nianyu took screenshots and recorded the screen, then she picked up her phone and dialed a number. Teacher He, hello, this is Pei Nianyu. The counselor, He Ming, spoke in a very gentle voice. Nianyu, what's the matter? There's something I need to tell you, Pei Nianyu said calmly. Someone has posted a video online mentioning my name and Huaqing University, and the content is untrue. I've already saved the evidence. I wanted to report it to the school in advance so it won't cause any bad influence on the school later. There was a 2-second silence on the other end of the phone. He Ming's voice grew serious. Send it to me and let me take a look. Pei Nianyu organized the video link and screenshots and sent them to He Ming by email. At the same time, she copied the college's student affairs office. The email subject is, Statement of the situation regarding false remarks made against me and preservation of evidence. The body of the email is concise and clear, with not a single emotional word. Facts, timeline, evidence, like a legal document. After sending the email, Pei Nianyu leaned back in his chair and let out a long breath. The move had been made. I had given up the first move. The second move was mine. In the second week of April, Qing Yao's second video began to spread within a limited circle. The view count climbed to 30,000, not very high, but enough to draw attention, because the video mentioned the two keywords, Huaqing University, and guaranteed admission student. Discussions soon began on Huaqing University's campus forum. Does anyone know Pei Nianyu, who was admitted by recommendation to the School of Computer Science? She got exposed in a video posted by a former high school classmate. What's going on? A recommendation student not helping a classmate deliver their exam admission ticket. I went to watch the video. How should I put it? I just feel like something's off. The comments under the post were split into two camps. One side felt that Pei Nianyu had no obligation to help. She came rushing to report in from the airport. What right do you have to make her deliver your admission ticket? You should be responsible for your own things. The other side felt that, as a friend, she should help. 12 years of best friends, and you won't even help deliver an admission ticket. That's a bit cold-hearted. Pei Nianyu didn't go to the forum to speak up. She was waiting. She waited for 3 days. On the third day, Qing Yao intensified her efforts. She pinned a long comment at the top of the video's comment section. I didn't originally want to say any of this, but since everyone is talking about it, I think I should tell more of the truth. It's true that Nianyu got a direct admission, and I'm happy for her. But the words she said to me before she left, if you're in a hurry, then go call the police. I still can't forget it to this day. 12 years of friendship, and this is what I got in return. Go call the police. That was indeed something Pei Nianyu had said, but the context had been completely distorted. When Pei Nianyu said that, it was in refusing an unreasonable request. Why should she give up her airline recommendation just for an exam admission ticket? But in Qing Yao's account, those words became evidence of cold-blooded cruelty. Pei Nianyu looked at the pinned comment, the corner of her mouth lifting slightly. The time had come. She opened her computer and created a new document. Title: A factual clarification regarding the video content of classmate Qing Yao. She did not use any emotional language, no crying, no cursing, no saying, I'm very sad, or I feel wronged. She wrote the facts, only the facts. Part 1, Reconstructing the Timeline. On the evening of June 6, 2024, Zhenhua High School organized an inspection of Gaokao materials. Homeroom teacher Lin checked each student's admission ticket and ID card one by one, and signed to release them only after confirming they were correct. Qing Yao's admission ticket was confirmed to be in her own possession that evening. After the inspection, Qing Yao returned to the classroom on the pretext of having forgotten to bring her water cup. A witness, He Jia, confirmed that when Qing Yao came out of the classroom, she was holding her admission ticket. The next morning, Qing Yao contacted me, saying that her admission ticket had been left in the classroom. She attached teacher Lin's testimony. With teacher Lin's consent, a video explanation was recorded, and He Jia's written statement. Part 2, Score Comparison. Student Qing Yao's score on the college entrance exam was 498, 29 points below the first-year cutoff. Based on the information previously obtained, even if the test admission ticket had not been forgotten, her performance level would have been roughly the same as this score. Being 8 minutes late was not the main reason for the exam failure. In this section, she did not include the data from her previous life. It could not be explained clearly, but she included the ranking trend of Qing Yao's various mock exam scores in her senior year of high school. She remained consistently in the middle-lower range of the class and had never entered the top 50 in the grade. Part 3, Abnormal video dissemination data. She attached the analysis results of the data collected by the web crawler, the abnormal surge in views from 2 a.m. to 4 a.m., the registration patterns of fake accounts, and the high similarity of the comment text. The above data show that the first video posted by classmate Qing Yao is suspected of having purchased fake traffic. Part 4. Qing Yao's contradictory statements. Attached is a screenshot of the chat between He Jia and Qing Yao. How did you know I went back to get my water cup? Compare Qing Yao's statement in the video. I accidentally left my admission ticket in the classroom. The contradiction is obvious. It falls apart on its own. In the last paragraph, Pei Nianyu wrote 4 lines. I have no obligation to sacrifice my own future to help anyone deliver their admission ticket. My refusal is not cold-heartedness, but an 18-year-old girl's sense of responsibility for her own life. As for why classmate Qing Yao had to put her exam admission ticket back in the classroom after the inspection was finished, please let her answer that herself. After finishing, Pei Nianyu read it through twice, corrected 3 typos, and adjusted the formatting in 2 places. Then she converted this document into a PDF and sent it to her counselor, He Ming, the college student affairs office, and her high school class group. After sending the group message, she also compiled the PDF link and all the screenshot evidence into a long post, which she published on the campus forum of Huaqing University. The post title was very plain: Statement from the person involved regarding the recently circulated video. After posting, Pei Nianyu closed her laptop. She picked up her water glass and took a sip. Her hand did not tremble. Jin Shuadong took off one earbud and glanced at her. What's wrong? You don't look so good, Pei. Nianyu turned her head and looked at Jin Shuadong, then suddenly smiled. Nothing, I just finally did something I'd been putting off for a long time. Jin Shuadong gave an "oh," nodded, put her earbud back on, and went on with her ranked match. Pei Nianyu leaned back against the chair. Outside the window was a Jingzhou night in April. The plane trees had sprouted new buds, and the streetlights cast their shadows onto the ground, swaying whenever the wind blew. She closed her eyes. Your turn, Qing Yao. The day after the post was published, the comments section blew up. The campus forum moderator marked the post as featured and pinned it. Within 3 hours, the thread had over 500 replies, so the admission ticket was deliberately left back in the classroom by her herself. Jia's testimony is too crucial. She was still holding her admission ticket after the check, and then the next day she forgot it. Does that logic even hold up? The part about the paid troll data was jaw-dropping. A few thousand views at 2 in the morning, and all the accounts were newly registered. Wasn't that obviously bot? What was most frightening was the motive. She knew that day Pei Nianyu was supposed to take a flight to Huqing for registration. She deliberately put the admission ticket back in the classroom, just to make Pei Nianyu go deliver it and miss the flight. What kind of mindset is that? She's ruining someone's future. This isn't some petty prank, it was deliberate. The post spread far faster than Pei Nianyu had expected. That afternoon, the high school classmates group chat was in an uproar as well. Someone forwarded Pei Nianyu's clarification document to other groups, and those groups then passed it on to Weibo. Zhang Ting posted a message in the group. I suspected a long time ago that Qing Yao had a problem, back in that junior high school essay contest. She told me Pei Nianyu's article was revised by her, but I personally saw Nianyu write it herself from the first draft to the final version. Qing Yao never even looked at it. Then a second person stepped forward, a male classmate from grade 10, Chen Mo. Do you know about the sports meet that time? Pei Nianyu drank high-concentration sugar water, vomited, and had to withdraw from the competition. Who gave her the sugar water? Qing Yao. I was right there at the time. She poured half a bag of glucose powder into the water bottle. And I even said that was way too much. She said, it's fine. Sports require energy replenishment. A third person, a classmate from grade 11, Zhou Xiaofan. The time my notebook was stolen, not my notebook, but Pei Nianyu's English notebook. I sat directly behind her. During the last self-study period that afternoon, I saw Qing Yao rummaging through Pei Nianyu's desk compartment. I thought she was helping Nianyu tidy things up, so I didn't think much of it. Later, Nianyu said the notebook was missing. One after another, those details that Pei Nianyu either hadn't noticed herself, or had noticed but not taken to heart, were filled in by different people from different angles. Put together, they revealed a 6-year-long, meticulously planned campaign of persecution disguised as friendship. The group chat fell silent for a minute, then someone typed 4 words, terrifying when you think about it. Someone else said, I used to think Qing Yao was a pretty nice person. Whenever something happened to Nianyu, she was always there comforting her. Thinking about it now, she was there comforting her because she was the one who caused those things. She creates the wound and then comes over to put on the bandage, so you'll think she's being nice to you. What kind of horror story is this? Pei Nianyu looked at these messages in the dormitory, one by one. As they slid across the screen, her eyes grew hot for a moment. She blinked hard, not out of sadness. In her previous life, no one had ever said these words. In my previous life, all the voices were drowned out by that video with millions of views. The classmates who knew parts of the truth were frightened by the flood of public opinion, and no one stood up. Zhang Ting only found her in the final 3 months, and by then it was already too late, but in this life, because Pei Nianyu produced ironclad evidence first, those who had once remained silent finally found the courage to speak. It was never just Pei Nianyu fighting alone, it never was, she just needed to tear open a gap. First, Qing Yao's reaction was even faster than Pei Nianyu had expected. At 6:47 p.m., Qing Yao posted a message in the class group chat, "Are you guys done yet?" Everything Pei Nianyu posted was taken out of context. When did I ever deliberately leave my admission ticket somewhere? He Jia says she saw me holding my admission ticket. I was looking at my exam room information. After I was done, I casually put it on the desk, and you call that evidence, and paid trolls. Since when do I have money to hire trolls? You're going to believe her alone and convict me just like that. One by one, you all come out and say this and that about me, the junior high school essay incident, the sports meet incident. How many years ago was that? Say whatever you want now, there's no way to prove any of it anyway. Pei Nianyu, you're something else. For the sake of self-protection, you didn't hesitate to ruin my reputation. You've really changed. The group chat fell silent again for a few seconds, then He Jia sent a message, just one, Qing Yao, when you came out of the classroom, your admission ticket was facing outward, and your photo was in the top left corner. If you were just looking at the exam information, you wouldn't have needed to take it out into the hallway to read it, would you? There are lights in the classroom. Qing Yao didn't reply. Chen Mo followed up with another message. What I said is the truth. Half a bag of glucose powder, mixed with about 100 milliliters of water in a measuring cup. You yourself said, drink more, you'll have more energy. Drinking that concentration of sugar water on an empty stomach can cause stomach spasms. You can look it up and find out. Qing Yao still didn't reply. Zhou Xiaofan posted, I didn't speak up about the notes thing at the time, and that was my fault, but I saw it, and I saw it. Qing Yao remained silent. 20 minutes later, she left the group. The moment the leave group notification popped up, the atmosphere in the group changed subtly. Someone posted a, this, meme. Someone typed 3 words. What are you running for? Someone said, didn't you say there was no proof because the dead can't testify? What's wrong with that? Pei Nianyu did not speak in the group. She looked at the notification saying Qing Yao had left the group and let out a long breath. Another message popped up on her phone. It was a private message from Qing Yao. WeChat. Pei Nianyu, you won. Are you satisfied now? Pei Nianyu looked at this message, her thumb hovering above the input box. In her previous life, Qing Yao had blocked her. In this life, Qing Yao had sent her this message. Pei Nianyu thought for a moment and typed a line. I don't need to beat you at anything. I just need to put the truth out there. You asked me whether I'm satisfied. Do you know what kind of life I lived in my past life? She stopped typing here. I deleted the last sentence. Qing Yao didn't know anything about a past life. Pei Nianyu retyped. You asked me whether I'm satisfied. Qing Yao, when you put the admission ticket back in the classroom on the evening of June 6th, did you ever think about what kind of days I would have to go through if I really missed the flight and my guaranteed admission was cancelled? Would you be satisfied? Send. The other side showed, typing. It lasted a long time, 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, then, typing, disappeared. No message came through. 5 more minutes passed, and a message popped up. I didn't do it on purpose. I just forgot. If you insist on thinking that way, there's nothing I can do. Pei Nianyu looked at the message, the corners of her lips pressing down slightly. Even at this point, she was still refusing to admit it. She did not reply again, saved the chat screenshot into an encrypted folder, then she closed WeChat. The next morning, Pei Nianyu received a call from teacher He Ming. Nianyu, the academy has already reviewed the materials you sent. The school on Qing Yao's side has also gotten in touch. The counselor from Haidong College called to ask about the situation. Pei Nianyu asked, will this affect me at the academy? He Ming said, no, the academy has a very good evaluation of you, and the materials are very complete. This matter won't affect any of your grades or awards. He paused, then added, Nianyu, your evidence collection is very logically organized. If the other party continues posting false content, the school's legal office can help you pursue legal action. Thank you. Teacher He. Pei Nianyu hung up the phone. She stood by the corridor window of North Building 3, looking down at the Wudong Avenue below. In April, in Jingzhou, the leaves of the Wudong trees were already a glossy green. Students walked past in 2s and 3s, their laughter and chatter drifting up, faint and indistinct. She had never heard such a sound in her previous life. The wind at Tsinghua University in April, the sunlight at Tsinghua University in April, the plane tree leaves at Tsinghua University in April. She almost missed it forever, just barely. Pei Nianyu stood in the corridor, one hand on the window frame, knuckles white, her shoulders trembling ever so slightly. Only for an instant, she took a deep breath, let go of the window frame, shoved her hands into her pockets, and went back to the dorm to continue writing code. That evening, she received Cheng Yao's last message, not on WeChat. It was a text message, a very long passage. Pei Nianyu, do you know, ever since I was little, I've lived in your shadow. You're better than me at everything. Your grades are better, you're better looking, the teachers like you, and the classmates like you. My mom says every day, look at Nianyu, I've had enough. I just wanted you to taste what it's like to lose, too, just once. The thing about the exam admission ticket was done by me, I admit it, but I never meant to ruin you. I just wanted you to miss one flight and let you know that not everything can go your way. It was because your parents were too easy to talk to, and because you were too easy to fool. Do you blame me? You can blame me, but don't act like you're so innocent. Everything you have is what I want but can't get, and you wouldn't even share a little of your good luck with me. Pei Nianyu read this text message from beginning to end 3 times. The first time, she felt something churning in her stomach. The second time, her nails dug into her palm, leaving 4 crescent-shaped indentations. By the third time, she had calmed down. Cheng Yao admitted it, she admitted everything. Confession letter, this is the final piece of the puzzle. Pei Nianyu took a screenshot, archived it, then she replied to a text message. There was only one sentence, I don't blame you, but you need to bear the consequences of what you did. After sending it, she added Cheng Yao's number to the blacklist. In her past life, it was Cheng Yao who blacklisted her. In this life, she blocked Cheng Yao. By mid-May, the matter had basically settled down. Cheng Yao's 2 videos were taken down by the platform on the grounds of suspected rumors, defamation, and purchase of fake traffic. Haidong College issued Cheng Yao a campus-wide criticism and placed her on probation. Pei Nianyu did not file a lawsuit. She had considered it. Teacher He Ming said the school's legal department could help, and He Jia said she could testify in court, but Pei Nianyu thought about it for an entire night and decided to let it go. It's not forgiveness. I just don't want to spend any more time on Cheng Yao. In my previous life, I spent far too much time hating, feeling wronged, and repeatedly chewing over the details of that betrayal. Hating someone comes at a cost. She wanted to spend that energy elsewhere, for example, on the project she was currently working on, the undergraduate research project of the School of Computer Science at Huaqing University, a deep learning-based online misinformation detection system. After seeing the proposal she submitted, the supervising professor called her to his office and talked with her for an hour. This topic is very targeted, the professor said, pushing up his glasses, identifying bot comments, fake traffic, and information distortion through cherry-picking. Classmate Pei, do you have some personal experience with this? Pei Nianyu smiled. I suppose so. The professor approved the project and also assigned her 2 graduate students as assistants. The project progressed smoothly. By the end of her freshman year, her paper draft was already finished and had been submitted to an undergraduate academic competition. During the summer vacation, she went home. Pei Jiang'an drove to the train station to pick her up. The 20-minute drive from the station to home, Pei Nianyu sat in the passenger seat. The car window rolled down halfway, and the evening wind poured in, carrying the familiar scent of this city, the smoky aroma of barbecue stalls, the earthy smell of watered roadside soil, and, from somewhere in the distance, the fragrance of braised pork drifting out of who knows whose house. You've lost weight, Pei Jiang'an said as he drove, glancing at her out of the corner of his eye. I didn't lose weight, the cafeteria food was pretty good. Who are you kidding? Your chin's gotten pointed. Pei Jiang'an's voice was muffled. Eat more when you get back. Your mom made a whole table of dishes waiting for you. Pei Nianyu turned her head to look out the window. The roadside trees had grown a new crop of leaves. The stationery shop on the corner was still there, and a banner reading, "Good luck on the college entrance exam," hung at the entrance. Oh, this year's Gaokao had just ended not long ago. Year has passed. She had been gone from this city for a full year. In her previous life, by this time, she was already in the rented room. That rented room was in an old residential complex in the south of the city, on the 6th floor with no elevator. The room was 12 square meters, the walls were yellowing, and the window faced a wall. She spent the darkest 6 months of her life in that room. During the day, she worked part-time at a milk tea shop. At night, she lay on the hard bed staring at the ceiling. She didn't dare turn on her phone, because the moment she did, she would be bombarded with abuse. Every day, Pei Jiang'an would come back from the hospital and stand at the door for a long time before pushing it open and coming in. Even after coming in, he wouldn't say a word, silently boil noodles, and bring them to the bedside. The noodles were too salty, because Pei Jiang'an couldn't cook. Before Su Rong was hospitalized, she had been the one making all the meals in this household. We're here. Pei Jiang'an parked the car. Get out. Pei Nianyu pushed open the car door and stood downstairs looking up at the 5th floor. The kitchen light was on, the window was open halfway, the range hood was humming, and even from 5 floors down, you could smell the sweet and sour pork ribs. Su Rong's shadow flickered at the window, then she leaned out and waved down below. Nian, hurry up and come up, the ribs are almost done. Pei Nianyu tilted her head back and looked at Su Rong's face. The 5th floor light fell on Su Rong's face. Her skin looked rosy, her hair had just been dyed chestnut brown, tied into a ponytail, and when she smiled, deep lines showed at the corners of her eyes, healthy and well, full of energy. Not the pale-faced person in the ICU with an oxygen tube inserted into his nose. Pei Nianyu stood downstairs, her nose suddenly stinging. With sourness, she tilted her head back and blinked hard twice, then he shouted upstairs, coming, don't lean out too far, be careful not to fall. Su Rong laughed and scolded something, then shrank back into the window. Pei Nianyu carried her suitcase upstairs with thumping footsteps. The moment she pushed open the front door, the warmth and steam from a table full of dishes rushed toward her. Sweet and sour spare ribs, braised fish, garlic broccoli, tomato egg drop soup, and a plate of tiger skin. Green peppers that she had loved since childhood. Su Rong came out of the kitchen carrying the last dish, with oil spots on her apron, muttering, wash your hands first, don't touch it, the ribs are hot. Pei Jiang'an was already seated at the dining table, serving rice into 3 bowls. He was clumsy as he served the rice, piling it up crookedly and unevenly. Pei Nianyu walked over and took the rice ladle from his hand. I'll do it. All right. Pei Jiang'an stepped back, watching her serve the rice, the corners of his mouth lifting slightly. 3 bowls of rice, 3 pairs of chopsticks, a table full of dishes. The kitchen exhaust fan was still humming. Outside the window, the sky had darkened, the streetlights had come on, and from downstairs came the tinkling of a child's bicycle bell. Su Rong sat down and picked up a piece of spare ribs, putting it into Pei Nianyu's bowl. Have more, I wonder if you've been eating well at school. Pei Nianyu lowered her head and looked at the ribs in her bowl. They were coated in a soy sauce glaze, the skin slightly crisp, the meat tender and juicy, and the sweet and sour sauce had soaked into the rice. She picked it up and took a bite. Hot, sweet, sour, the meat melted on her tongue. Pei Jiang'an said softly beside her, is it good? Your mom went to 3 different markets for this pork ribs, saying the ribs at the first one weren't tender enough. Su Rong glared at him. What are you saying? Pei Nianyu chewed on the ribs and looked up at them. Pei Jiang'an was wearing an old t-shirt, its collar a little stretched from washing, and his hair was black, not white. He sat at the dining table, peeling shrimp for Su Rong, his fingers clumsily prying at the shells. When he couldn't crack them open, he lowered his head and used his teeth. Su Rong laughed beside him. How can your hands be even clumsier than your feet? Pei Nianyu looked at them for a long time. Then she lowered her head and ate bite by bite. She ate 2 bowls. Su Rong said in surprise, oh, your appetite is so good today. Want another bowl? Enough. Pei Nianyu put down her chopsticks and patted her stomach. I'm full. Su Rong went to wash the dishes. Pei Nianyu said, I'll do it, but was pressed back into the chair. You don't need to do anything at home, just rest. Pei Jiang'an sat on the sofa watching the news, and the TV was airing the weather forecast. Pei Nianyu sat beside him, staring at the TV screen, but not taking anything in. Dad. Take care of your health, don't work too hard. Pei Jiang'an turned to look at her. After 2 seconds, he smiled. This kid, why are you acting like a little adult? He reached out and patted her on the head. Rough, thick palms, carrying a faint smell of oil that hadn't been washed off completely. Pei Nianyu closed his eyes for a moment. His fingers tightened on his knee, then relaxed. What had this hand been like in his previous life? She remembered. That hand had thinned by a full size, the knuckles protruding, resting motionless on the plastic railing of the hospital corridor. She squeezed that hand at the time, cold, like a stone. Right now, this hand was resting on top of her head, warm, steady, carrying the body heat and strength of a living person. Pei Nianyu opened her eyes. On the TV, the weather forecaster said, tomorrow will be sunny during the day, with a high of 33 degrees Celsius, suitable for going out. Leaning against the sofa, she listened to the rushing sound of Su Rong washing dishes in the kitchen, the occasional clicks of Pei Jiang'an pressing the remote to change channels, and the intermittent chirping of cicadas outside the window. In my previous life, all these sounds were gone. In the rented room, there were only the sound of a drill from next door, the drunken argument of a man downstairs, and her own breathing. Now they were all there, all there. Pei Nianyu curled up on the sofa for a while, then took out her phone. She scrolled through her moments twice. He Jia posted a photo from the graduation trip. At the seaside, smiling brightly. Caption, the first summer vacation of college. Zhang Ting posted, first day of my summer part-time job, totally exhausted, but I made money, hee. Teacher Lin reposted an admissions promotion for Zhenhua Middle School, and younger students were asking questions in the comments. Jin Shuodong posted a game screenshot, finally made it to King, this season wasn't easy. Pei Nianyu looked through them one by one. Somehow, the corners of his mouth had curled up. She exited Moments and opened the Notes app. The folder called Old Ledger was still there. She looked at the contents inside. Teacher Lin's testimony, He Jia's screenshots, the data analysis report, Cheng Yao's text message confession, the timeline compilation, the evidence numbering, packed to the brim. She thought for a moment, then added a line at the end, case closed. Then she created a new note on the main page of the memo app. The title had 4 words, a new beginning, blank. Nothing else had been written yet, but she knew that the blank spaces would be filled in little by little. Use code, use papers, use the awards I won, use the friends I made, use the pork ribs I got to eat when I went home, use the healthy smiles on my parents' faces, use every day of this life that I lived well. Pei Nianyu locked the screen and placed the phone face down on the coffee table. The light in the living room was warm and cozy. Su Rong came out of the kitchen after washing the dishes, carrying a plate of sliced watermelon, and put it on the coffee table. Have some fruit, this year's watermelon is especially sweet. Pei Nianyu picked up a piece and took a bite. The juice burst in his mouth. It was cool, sweet, and carried the taste of summer. She chewed on watermelon, tilting her head as she leaned against the sofa. The sky outside had gone completely dark. There were no stars, and no moon either, but the streetlights were on. Someone downstairs was walking a dog, and the dog's bell jingled as it rang. Pei Nianyu listened as the sound of the bells faded from near to far. Then she closed her eyes, and the corners of her lips curved slightly. It was very slight, but it was real. After hearing the first story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Next, there is another similar story. Let's continue to see. My roommate bound herself to a life-stealing system. As long as she kept using my things, she would gradually acquire my face and abilities. In my previous life, she borrowed skincare products, clothes, and jewelry from me. Finally, with a face identical to mine, they pushed me into the sea to drown. From now on, I am the heiress of the James family. When I opened my eyes again, I had returned to the day of my freshman year. My new roommate fawned over me, trying to win my favor. Mia, I forgot to bring my shampoo. Can I borrow yours? I handed it to her expressionlessly. Sure. Then I turned around and gave the item to a homeless person. This time, I'm going to give her a different life. Mia, I forgot to bring shampoo. Can I borrow yours? I had just opened my eyes when I heard Emma's coquettish voice. Seeing the pleading face at the bathroom door, I finally realized that I had been reborn on the first day of my freshman year. In my previous life, Emma would also act coquettishly like this, borrowing this and that from me. From shampoo and skincare products at first, to clothes, bags, and jewelry, and even later when she went for an internship, she occasionally borrowed my car. My family was very wealthy, and my parents taught me from a young age not to be stingy with friends. Moreover, Emma used the excuse of being good friends, so I never took these small matters to heart. Until graduation day, we went on a vacation to the seaside. I heard her say disdainfully to other classmates, "I've had enough of Mia for a long time. She thinks she can look down on others just because she's rich. If I had her conditions, I would definitely be better than her." Suppressing my anger, I waited until the banquet was over and confronted her. Who would have thought she would become so enraged and push me into the sea? Then, to my horror, her face slowly transformed into mine. Emma pressed my head firmly into the water. From now on, Mia, I am the heiress of the James family, and I will definitely live a more brilliant life than you. It was then that I realized Emma had long been bound to a life-stealing system. As long as she kept using my things, she would steal my energy. Eventually, she would steal my face and abilities, completely becoming me. Right now, I look at Emma's smiling face. It hasn't yet become mine, it's still completely her own face. I take a deep breath to calm myself, then hand her my shampoo with an expressionless face. Sure, go ahead and use it as long as you want, use whatever you want. This time, I will definitely give you a different life. The next night, when Emma was taking a shower, she asked to borrow my shampoo again. Mia, the shampoo I ordered online won't arrive for another 2 days. Can I borrow yours for now? Once mine arrives, you can use mine too. I looked up. At this point, she and I weren't yet close, unlike in my past life, where later on, she could just take my things with a simple greeting. She wore an uneasy smile on her face. Seeing me look at her, she immediately said, "Don't worry. I'll only use a little. Mia, your family is so wealthy, and you're such a kind person, you'll definitely lend it to me." Right. The other two roommates exchanged glances upon hearing this and remarked sarcastically, "Just because her family is wealthy, does that mean she should lend it to you? Why don't you just go buy it at the supermarket?" Emma gave them a disdainful look. "You're not rich people, what do you know? We're not, but are you? Clueless fools, I'll be one sooner or later." Both roommates frowned and turned to persuade me, but they saw that I had already handed the shampoo to her. They hesitated to speak, and I smiled kindly. "It's okay." Before Emma entered the bathroom, she sneered at the two roommates. "Some people are just narrow-minded and can't stand to see others succeed. When I'm rich in the future and you're still working for others, you'll realize how wise I was." Emma used my shampoo to wash her hair for 3 days in a row. On the 4th day, she returned the shampoo to me with an excited look on her face. "My shampoo has arrived. Here's yours back. Mia, you're really too kind." As she spoke, she suddenly leaned in cautiously and pointed to the sunscreen on my desk. I forgot to buy sunscreen, and I noticed you seem to have extra. Could I borrow a tube? I'll return it once I buy my own." Return it? She never returned it in her past life. I expressionlessly took back the shampoo and then handed her the sunscreen. "Return it to me after the military training is over." Emma gratefully accepted the sunscreen, but as soon as she turned around, she curled her lips and cursed. "By the time the military training is over, this bottle of sunscreen will be used up." She still wants me to return it. She's rich but so stingy, so don't blame me. The day after Emma returned my shampoo, I noticed that her hair had become smoother and shinier than before. When she woke up early in the morning and saw her thick, lush hair, a look of pleasant surprise spread across her face, and she murmured, "I never thought it would actually work." But as soon as she turned around and saw my thick, dark, long hair, she shook her head in frustration. That's why she borrowed my shampoo for 3 days. She could have hair half as good as mine. If she could borrow it for more than 7 days, wouldn't that completely replace me? Thinking of this, she applied the sunscreen she borrowed from me last night while looking at my fair and smooth skin with envy. She wants my hair, my skin, and my figure too. A hint of madness gradually appeared in Emma's eyes. I pretended not to see, packed up my things, and went out. Today is the first day of military training. During the day, after enduring the grueling training, in the evening, under the organization of the instructor, we started playing the handkerchief game. The handkerchief landed behind Emma, and she pretended not to see it. Then, amid everyone's teasing, she said with a mix of pride and shyness, "Then I'll sing a song for everyone." Her voice was pleasant, but it lacked any technique. Even several notes seemed to have run off to the Himalayas, especially since the performer before her was Jiang Huan, who had studied music. In comparison, she appeared even more ordinary. The classmates were quite honest. There were hardly even a few people to applaud. After Emma finished singing, seeing that no one praised her, she stomped her foot angrily and glared at Jiang Huan. Then, while I wasn't paying attention, she threw the handkerchief behind my back. She did it on purpose, because long before the start of school, she had heard my work on Kwanmin Ke-gu. It was simply a howl of ghosts and wolves. It was more than 10 times worse than hers. In my previous life, I indeed casually sang a song, and then I received a chorus of ridicule. Emma didn't seem as awkward in the background, but now, holding the handkerchief, I turned and pulled a ukulele from my backpack. "Let me play a tune for everyone. I know how to play many instruments, and the ukulele is one of the simplest among them." Even so, my fluent and melodious rendition of Zebra left everyone in awe. Everyone had just finished studying in a tense and exciting atmosphere, so who had time to learn an instrument? Even if they did, they never thought of bringing it out at this moment. Thus, my ukulele stood out remarkably. Plus, the pitch-black playground, the dim streetlights, and the youthful boys and girls in their prime. As I finished playing, everyone erupted into thunderous applause. Even those from other companies came to listen to me play the piano. The enthusiasm of everyone stood in stark contrast to the indifference they had shown toward Emma just moments before. Perhaps others didn't notice, but Emma, squeezed into the corner, clenched her fists. After I finished playing, the instructor praised me, saying, "Excellent, you played very well. For the military training performance, our company can recommend you to perform. Upon hearing this, Emma immediately spoke up, Instructor. What about the others? Upon hearing this, the instructor shook his head and said, each company only has one spot, and this is for ranking and earning academic credits. We should definitely recommend the most talented student in the company. What if others also want to participate? Alright, from now on, we'll hold talent shows every night after training. If there are better candidates, we can select them. Upon hearing this, Emma nodded thoughtfully. The boys who were watching the excitement and not minding the trouble, upon seeing this, all teased, what's wrong? Emma, do you want to go too? Oh dear, you don't even listen to what you're singing. Can it compare to the ukulele they're playing? Stop embarrassing yourself. Your singing isn't even half as good as Jiang Huan's. Going up there would just disgrace our company. Emma shot me a resentful glare in the darkness, then she said disdainfully, what do you all know? It's just playing the ukulele. I can even sing while playing. The performance spot is definitely mine. So, when she returned to the dormitory in the evening, she ingratiatingly approached me. Mia, can I borrow your ukulele? Don't worry, I promise I won't damage it. I'll definitely return it to you after the military training. Looking at her calculating gaze, I chuckled softly. Sure, the military training lasted for half a month. For the past 2 weeks, Emma has been carrying my ukulele with her every day. She takes it with her to meals, to military training, and even sleeps with it in her arms. Seeing this, her roommate teased her, if you can't play it, just return it to Mia sooner. What's the point of carrying it around every day? It's not like you can learn to play it just by holding it for a few days. Emma rolled her eyes and said, you guys don't understand, I can actually play, and I'm even better than Mia. Just wait for me to dazzle everyone tonight. That evening, after the training session, the instructor continued to organize the talent show, because the performance is scheduled for tomorrow. Not only can it earn you credits, but it's also a great opportunity to showcase yourself. So many students actively sign up. There are singing, dancing, and poetry recitals. Although there are many options, none of them can match the impact my ukulele has on them. After reading it, the instructor said loudly, after looking around, I still think Mia's performance is the best. He had barely finished speaking. Emma suddenly stood up, clutching my ukulele. Instructor, I can play and sing. Upon hearing this, the instructor's eyes lit up. Playing and singing, that's even better than just playing without singing and with accompaniment. Even if Emma goes off-key a few times, it won't be noticed. Moreover, her voice is a bit husky, which, paired with the ukulele, is perfect for singing folk songs. It just so happens that a few leaders above really like folk songs. The instructor immediately said, alright, you go ahead. If you play well, I'd be happy to recommend you. Emma's face lit up with joy. She had already checked the system just now. The energy had long been absorbed and completed. At the same time, my phone received a transfer notification for 10 yuan. Classmate A said, thank you for being willing to sell me the ukulele at such a low price. This is my first time getting into an instrument, and I will definitely practice hard. I replied with a smile, no problem. After the military training ends, I'll bring it to your dorm. I turned off my phone, looked at Emma, and sneered coldly. The system's rule is that whoever owns an item can steal that person's skills or abilities, or beauty, and with enough energy, even swap faces with them. Once the theft is successful, it's a perfect copy and paste. But if the item changes hands before the theft occurs, what was stolen would only be the new owner's ability. So, as early as last night, I had already sold this ukulele in a second-hand group chat, and the buyer was a complete newbie. After checking the energy, Emma immediately excitedly activated the theft skill. Then, she held the ukulele and walked to the very center of the company with her head held high. No one expected a dark horse to emerge halfway, and all eyes turned to her with anticipation. Emma followed my lead and sat down on the lawn. Then, she struck a pose and plucked the first string, but the next second, she frowned deeply. What's going on? Why was she so unfamiliar with this ukulele? Shouldn't all the knowledge and skills have flooded into her mind the moment she picked it up? She tried plucking another string, another one was plucked, yet his expression grew increasingly unpleasant. The instructor and other classmates also noticed something was wrong. Why haven't you started yet? Do you even know how to play? Don't rush her, she might still be tuning. Doesn't making music require inspiration? Are you kidding? That ukulele was perfectly fine in Mia's hands just a few days ago, and she played it so well. How come it doesn't work when she's holding it? Listening to their comments, Emma's back was already soaked in cold sweat. It was unclear how much time had passed. The instructor stood up impatiently. tonight's training is over, let Mia handle tomorrow's performance report. Upon hearing this, Emma immediately grabbed the instructor's sleeve. No, I can play too, you have to give me this opportunity, then why don't you play? Emma was so anxious that she kept cueing the system. However, aside from stealing energy, the system never showed up normally, until the head instructor blew the whistle signaling the end of the training. Emma held that ukulele, not a single note was played again. The instructor turned away helplessly. Then the spot will go to classmate Mia. I said thank you and pointed at Jiang Huan, saying, I want to team up with Jiang Huan, she can sing, and I'll play the ukulele. Jiang Huan is the girl who studied music in her past life. Emma stole Jiang Huan's singing skills. She incorporated performance elements into her singing. It was only then that I got the chance to shine in the performance report. This opportunity should have been Jiang Huan's. If I could go, she should naturally go too. The instructor nodded. That's even better. As soon as I returned to the dorm, Emma couldn't wait to find me. She got straight to the point. Mia, what's going on? Why can you play tunes with this ukulele? But I can't. I pretended to be puzzled and tilted my head. I can play because I know how. Don't you know how to play? Emma was left speechless. That's not really what she wanted to ask, but she was afraid of exposing the system. She had no choice but to force a smile and try to cover it up. Of course not. I just didn't want to take your spot, since I consider you a good friend. I let out a scoff, took the ukulele from her hands, and headed out of the dorm. She immediately stopped me. Where are you going? I said. To return the ukulele. I borrowed it from another classmate. Emma paused for a moment, then suddenly understood. You mean, the ukulele isn't yours? She suddenly understood. So it wasn't a system issue. The next second, a surge of anger rose in Emma's heart. Why didn't you say so earlier? She glared at me reproachfully. If she had known the ukulele was borrowed, she would never have taken the ukulele away. Isn't there a girl in the company who sings well? She steals her singing skills. Add a little innovation. How can we secure a spot? Thinking of this, Emma immediately stopped me again. It's all your fault for not telling me clearly in advance, making me miss this opportunity. Mia, you have to take responsibility for me. Since you can team up with Jiang Huan, you can add me in too. I turned to look at her and sneered. Blame me? You said you wanted to perform the ukulele, and I even borrowed the instrument for you. What right do you have to blame me? As for teaming up, what talent do you have? Singing or dancing? Perhaps my words were too sharp. Emma also realized that her attitude had been too hasty just now. She immediately softened her tone. I didn't mean it that way. Oh, Mia, you're the first friend I made in college. Aren't friends supposed to help each other? Add me in, and I'll help liven up the atmosphere for you all. I tugged at the corner of my mouth. Not needed. With that, I turned and walked away. Emma stared at my resolute back, grinding her teeth in frustration. Who do you think you are, acting all high and mighty, just because your family paid for you to learn a few instruments? I'm clearly smarter and more talented than you. Just wait, when the time comes, even if you beg me, I won't give you a second glance. After delivering the ukulele, I didn't head back to the dorm right away. Instead, I turned and went to the dorm supervisor's office. Auntie, these are some skincare products I bought, all genuine, high-end brands. They just don't suit me, so I'd like to give them to you. The dorm supervisor accepted them with pleasant surprise. Then, she found the nearly empty bottle of sunscreen. She asked me, why is this already used? I pretended not to know. Oh, maybe I accidentally grabbed the wrong one. It's fine. Anyway, the military training is over, and I don't really need it anymore. You can have it too. If you don't want to use it, just throw it away. The dormitory aunt nodded upon hearing this. It's fine, I'm not picky. A while later, while the aunt was taking a shower, I sneaked in again and swapped out the skincare set I had given her with an identical one. This is stealing. The stolen skincare product still belonged to the dormitory supervisor. After I rejected Emma, she didn't come to borrow things from me for a while. She planned to find a new target to steal abilities from, but no matter how hard she looked, she couldn't find a girl more beautiful, outstanding, or from a better family background than me. But last time we parted on bad terms, she couldn't bring herself to come to me to borrow something. She was even more afraid that I wouldn't lend it to her, which would embarrass her. Her hesitation continued until she confessed her feelings to a senior in her department. The other person said to her, sorry, but I actually like Mia from your class. I only helped you because I wanted to use your connection to add her as a friend. Could you help me get in touch with her? Emma asked with red eyes. I've been caring for you and helping you with everything these past few days. You don't even know Mia, so why do you like her and not me? What does she have that I don't? Hearing someone he liked being belittled naturally made the senior unhappy. he immediately frowned and retorted without hesitation, she's prettier and has better poise than you, any normal person would choose her over you, right? Emma was furious, she left with a parting shot, you'll regret this. He ran back to the dormitory and aggressively rummaged through my skincare products, saying, Mia, lend me your skincare products. Emma suddenly appeared, startling the other roommates after hearing her words clearly. They immediately frowned and said, you have your own, why do you keep using Mia's? If you're going to borrow something, at least have the right attitude, acting so high and mighty, anyone would think Mia owes you something. Their words made Emma, who had been boiling with anger, calm down. She put on a flattering smile again. Mia, I was just too anxious earlier, don't take it to heart, you're so generous and wealthy, it's just a bit of skincare products, surely you're willing to lend them to me, right? The system had told her before, as long as she uses enough of my skincare products, she can steal my beauty, becoming fair-skinned and attractive, with delicate features. I leaned back in my chair, smiling faintly as I said, what makes you think I should lend it to you? Emma immediately grew anxious, you're so wealthy, yet you're so stingy, aren't we friends? How can you be so unfriendly? The other two roommates, upon hearing this, were about to retort. At that moment, I added, my skincare products cost thousands of dollars each, I can't just let you use them for free, can I? Emma really wanted to curse, but for the sake of beauty, she endured it. What do you want then? This week's off-campus practical activity for the dorm, the three of us don't want to go, you can do it for all of us by yourself. As soon as I finished speaking, Emma immediately jumped up in protest, it's over 30 degrees outside, and there's so much work to do, am I supposed to handle it all by myself? I withdrew my gaze, if you're not willing, then forget it. Emma looked at the array of high-end skincare products covering the table, thinking of the senior's words again. Finally gritting my teeth, I said, all right, I'll help you do it. Early on the weekend morning, after using my skincare products, Emma glared angrily at us who were still resting, then put on her volunteer uniform and stormed out. Seeing her leave, the other two roommates poked their heads out. Did she really go? Just to use Mia's skincare products, if you ask me, without the financial means, yet still dreaming of using luxury items? She's crazy, she just sees that Mia is easy to talk to and wants to take advantage. Mia, next time just say no to her, we can handle the volunteer activities ourselves. Listening to their words, I revealed a meaningful smile. In her previous life, Emma, relying on her system, never took her roommates seriously. She rarely participated in such thankless social activities. Every time, it was the other roommates who helped her sign in and clock out. Now it's her turn to repay these karmic debts Emma covered for us during the 2-day outdoor activities over the weekend. When she returned, she had tanned a shade darker, filled with resentment. She used my skincare products without holding back. I followed her. Perhaps it was my calm attitude that made her feel the relationship between us had eased. After that, she began openly asking me for things, and each time, I would have her run errands or attend classes on our behalf. It's not that I haven't thought about refusing her, it's just that even if she doesn't steal from me, she'll target others. After all, stolen things are irreversible. Rather than letting her harm others, I'd rather deal with her myself. Half a semester passed in the blink of an eye. The school began selecting etiquette ambassadors. They were responsible for the opening and closing ceremonies of award events and large-scale galas. Such activities typically drew the attention of the entire school. Therefore, the standards for etiquette ladies are extremely high. I naturally signed up to participate. Along with me, Emma also signed up. The registration forms were submitted collectively, and when the classmates saw Emma's name prominently listed among them, they immediately said, wait, the etiquette hostess requires a height of at least 165 meters, and isn't Emma even under 1.6 meters? Mia has both looks and a great figure, and her presence is impressive. You have nothing, so you'd better not go. Emma got anxious and typed angrily, who do you think you're looking down on? You're just sucking up to Mia because she's rich, a bunch of snobs. I'll definitely make you all eat your words in this competition. Her words offended everyone. Everyone rolled their eyes and said, we were just giving you a suggestion, we didn't mean anything else. Exactly, these large-scale competitions are all live-streamed online, and there are many spectators on site. If you embarrass yourself, it's your own face you'll be losing. Although the preliminary round requirements are quite lenient, only requiring height and posture to meet the standards, your height of 1.6 meters clearly falls short. Forget it, don't try to persuade her, it's like trying to reason with a mad dog. I think Emma has gone crazy. Emma's gaze was icy, her teeth clenched as she muttered a few low curses. Not long after, I finished washing the clothes and came in from outside. Emma rushed over to my laundry basin as if she had found a lifeline. Frantically rummaging through it, Mia. I signed up for the etiquette pageant, but I don't have any nice clothes. Could you lend me 2 outfits? Before I could even speak, the other 2 roommates pushed her away. Emma, I think you've gone crazy. Borrowing makeup and skincare products is one thing, but now you're even borrowing clothes. These are personal items, you know. Exactly. It's not like you don't have your own clothes to wear. You're just trying to keep up appearances because Mia buys all designer brands. Emma's eyes were red as she glared at them fiercely. What do you know? It's just a few outfits. Do you think I care about them? If it weren't for the fact that the preliminary competition is in a week and I need to be 165 centimeters tall, who would want to wear someone else's clothes? Since you don't appreciate it, then I don't need to lend it to you. I snatched the clothes from her hands and walked expressionlessly to the balcony to hang them up. Seeing this, Emma scolded me from behind. Mia, how can you be so heartless? I helped you with so much work earlier. What's wrong with borrowing 2 sets of clothes from you? It's not like I won't return them. This is my stuff. Lending it to you is a favor, not lending it is my right. Stop trying to guilt-trip me with your twisted logic. Emma glared at me with resentment. Originally, the system had told her, as long as enough energy is accumulated, she could even replicate a face identical to Mia's, yet she was still hesitating now. Seeing my attitude, she stared at me gloomily for a long time before finally gritting her teeth and saying, "System, I want to replace Mia and make her disappear from this world forever." Emma, of course, would not give up so easily. She could only rely on the system to become taller and more beautiful in a short time. She could have easily chosen someone else, but I had suppressed her in every way, and her heart had become twisted with jealousy. Surpassing me had become her obsession. Since I refused to lend it, she decided to steal it. So that night, I quietly lifted the bed curtain and saw Emma as if she were sleepwalking, standing on the balcony, wearing my clothes. The scene was so bizarre, I fell silent for 2 seconds. Without hesitation, I took out my phone and recorded the moment. A week later, the preliminary round for the etiquette competition soon arrived. Only Emma and I from our class had signed up, but everyone was very interested in the competition, so almost the entire class showed up. Originally, Emma and I were supposed to travel together, but the incident of borrowing clothes last time ended very unpleasantly. Emma no longer conceals her hostility towards me. Seeing me, she rolled her eyes and didn't even want to acknowledge me. My roommate was speechless. She's the one who's angry. What kind of person is that? I've never seen anyone so bizarre. Emma heard her muttering. He sneered. You're still trying to curry favor with Mia. But soon she'll be nothing. By then, you won't even have time to try and win me over. I couldn't be bothered with her and went backstage to change, but I found that the evening gown I had brought had a large cut in the waist. It was almost unwearable. At that moment, Emma walked in carrying a bag of clothes. I looked at her expressionlessly. You did this. We had already torn off all pretense of cordiality. Perhaps Emma already had other plans in mind. She didn't even bother pretending anymore. Yes, I cut it. Mia, the champion of this competition can only be me. You should just drop out now. I looked her up and down and said, even if I withdraw, do you really think you have what it takes to win the championship? Emma was speechless for a moment. Mia, who do you think you're looking down on? Don't assume everyone is like you, thinking you can look down on anyone just because your family has money. This time, I'll show you that even without money, I can still beat you. Just wait, this is only the beginning. After saying that, she took an S-sized evening gown and walked into the dressing room with her head held high, and after she went in, I immediately took out a new dress from the closet, and I requested the organizers to postpone my performance to the last slot. When Emma came out of the dressing room, I was no longer there. She snorted smugly, then took a deep breath and tried to pull up the zipper of her dress. It wouldn't budge. She is 158 meters tall and weighs 120 pounds, so an S size is simply too small for her to fit into. At that moment, other contestants entered the dressing room. Seeing her in this comical state, they couldn't help but laugh and say, "You can't even fit into the dress. Are you going to make a fool of yourself on stage?" Emma glared at her fiercely, sizing her up from head to toe. "Your legs are so thick, and you have the nerve to laugh at me." The girl's face flushed red. "At least I'm not as broad-shouldered and thick-waisted as you. You don't know a damn thing. In a moment, I'll have a better figure than all of you, and I'll make you self-righteous women eat your words." After saying that, she immediately fled the changing room and found a secluded spot. "System, I'm ready. Hurry up and help me change." "Okay." Detecting that the host has sufficient energy, now proceeding with the replacement of bodily functions. As this voice sounded, Emma's face grew increasingly flushed with excitement. She stared intently from the window at the competition venue, watching the girls with their pretty faces and good figures. Soon, she would be just like them. No, she would become even more beautiful than them. As long as she accumulates a bit more energy, she can take Mia's face. When the time comes, she will definitely trample these snobbish people under her feet. Emma is immersed in excited fantasies. At the same time, she felt her field of vision growing wider and wider. It seemed she had grown quite a bit taller. It looks like it was a success. Replacement complete. With the system's prompt tone, the competition organizer's call for numbers sounded. Next, please get ready, Emma. She immediately stood up excitedly and headed towards the competition venue, completely unaware that a cool breeze seemed to be blowing against their back. A large area of skin was exposed to the air. Next, please get ready, Emma. Coming, I'm right here. Emma raised her hand and squeezed into the crowd. As soon as she stood still, countless gazes from all around turned toward her. First, there was shock, then disbelief, and finally, a complex mix of emotions that was hard to put into words. Wait, is she serious? Oh my god, is this a girl? Could it be some kind of transgender person? Holy crap, what they're wearing is way too avant-garde. I feel like my eyes have taken 10,000 points of damage. Whispers spread all around. Emma, however, simply assumed they were all stunned by her beauty. She confidently walked onto the stage. As soon as she stood still, the 5 judges on the panel immediately spat out a mouthful of water. They looked at the registration form again and again, repeatedly confirming, "Classmate, did you come to the wrong competition?" Emma raised her head confidently, ready to showcase her graceful figure. Suddenly, the live camera swept over her, projecting her image onto the big screen. Emma glanced at it and was struck as if by lightning, freezing on the spot. What's going on? Where was the fair, flawless skin she had always dreamed of? Why had it become mottled and wrinkled, resembling the skin of a 50-year-old woman? Her long, slender legs and waist, which she had been so determined to achieve, had become thick and sturdy, almost like a man's. Her goal of growing taller had indeed been achieved, but wasn't Mia supposed to be 170 centimeters tall? Why did she now seem as tall as 180 cm? Emma looked at the unfamiliar self in the picture. She turned her head, and the other would turn as well. Whatever expression she made, the other would mirror it. Emma suddenly let out a scream and fell to the ground. My face. What she wanted were delicate features like Mia's, not a face that had aged 40 years in an instant. There were quite a few people below who recognized Emma. Seeing her like this, everyone took out their phones and started taking pictures. Although Emma is now 1.8 meters tall, with a burly build like a man, and looks at least 30 years older, but from her facial features, it can still be vaguely recognized that this person is Emma. Everyone was shocked. Holy shit, what kind of black magic did Emma pull? She looked perfectly fine this morning. Did she get a sex change, or was she taken over by aliens? This is just too bizarre. This is terrifying. I'm posting this on my social media. Who would have guessed she used to be a 19-year-old student? Under the strange gazes from the audience, Emma completely broke down. She tore at her own face, screaming and shouting on stage. The organizers had no choice but to have her removed from the stage, but she didn't stay down for long. I walked up, wearing a red dress. I remained calm and composed, and the 5 judges immediately gave high scores. Emma saw this scene. Suddenly, she rushed onto the stage as if gone mad, like tearing at her own face. She was about to lash out and tear at mine. How is this possible? Why have I become like this? Did you do something, Mia? It must be you. You're jealous of me. You tampered with something. How could I have turned out like this? Give me back my beauty. Give me back my good figure. Give it all back to me. Everyone quickly restrained her, intending to hand her over to the instructor. I was protected in the middle by my classmates, watching her go crazy with indifference. I did indeed give her a push that led to her becoming like this. She borrowed my skincare products, but I had already given them to the dormitory auntie in her 50s. As for the clothes she secretly wore in the middle of the night, I also packed them up last night and gave them to the homeless person at the school gate. Although he is a man, the homeless person can still keep warm by cutting and sewing his clothes together, which is better than using old newspapers. Mia, you bitch, I will make you pay sooner or later. As long as I'm alive and you're still in this school, I won't lose. Everything you have will be mine eventually. Just you wait, I will make you suffer 1,000 times more than I am now. Emma was still shouting at the top of her lungs. Suddenly, I took out my phone and projected the video of her secretly wearing my clothes in the middle of the night onto the big screen. Amidst everyone's stunned silence, I pointed at Emma and said, "As you can see, she's mentally unstable and may have been injected with some kind of virus, causing physical changes. I suggest calling the police and sending her to a research institute to thoroughly investigate what virus it is." Hearing the suggestion to call the police, Emma calmed down. She couldn't afford to go to jail. She still had the system, her life wasn't over yet, so, under everyone's skeptical gaze, she returned to normal. "No, don't call the police, I'm fine, I just took some hormone medication, and it's having an effect. I'll be fine after resting for a few days. We're all classmates. You could tell I was normal before, right?" Upon hearing this, the others hesitated and nodded. They were all students. Watching the commotion was one thing, but if they actually called the police and ended up having to take responsibility, they didn't want to deal with all that trouble, so they all said, forget it, she seems quite normal now, maybe it really was the drug hormones, that's quite pitiful, we'll let her off this time, but don't go crazy again next time, it's terrifying." Emma assured them, "Don't worry, it definitely won't happen again," but as soon as she turned around, a sinister expression appeared on her face. She stared at me intently and said, "Mia, you just wait, I'll make you pay." Although Emma doesn't understand why she has become like this, but she doesn't believe that her system has been discovered by me, that is something of a higher dimension. She attributed all of this to my stinginess. I was unwilling to lend things to her, so I gave her fakes or something else to use, but it didn't matter. She already had better things. She had already assured the system that this thing must belong to me, as long as she absorbs enough energy and doesn't let the thing fall into someone else's hands. She can definitely replace me. That afternoon, Emma moved out of our dormitory. At the same time, I discovered that the jade Buddha I had worn for 15 years, which I never took off, was missing. At the end of the semester, the class organized a mountain climbing trip. Although Emma had changed dormitories, she had not dropped out, so she was also part of the group. When we reached the mountaintop, everyone started setting up tents and preparing for a picnic. I and two other roommates were assigned to gather firewood. As I was picking them up, I suddenly realized that the area around me was empty. Just as I was about to call out to them, Emma's eerie voice suddenly came from behind me. "Mia, I've finally waited for this day." I turned around and met her gloomy smile. Instinctively, I scanned my surroundings, looking for a chance to escape. "You're not thinking of running, are you, Mia? You have no chance." She walked towards me step by step. The path beside me was already narrow, blocked by her. Like this, there was suddenly no way to escape. Seeing me driven to a dead end, Emma revealed a frenzied smile. "You're clever, and you might have already sensed that there's a trick behind me borrowing things from you, but so what? Unless you never lose anything in your entire life, even if you throw away a single tissue, I can use it to steal your energy and slowly replace you." She pressed on step by step. "I originally planned to boil the frog slowly, letting you enjoy yourself a little longer, but you're just too ungrateful. Mia, people like you, who think they're better than others just because you come from a wealthy family, deserve to die. They flatter you only because you have money, and men like you only because of your face. Without these, you're nothing. Why should you step on my head?" I frowned as I looked at her. "You're wrong. While I've had support from my family, most of what I've achieved is the result of my own hard work. It's truly absurd for you to think you can take shortcuts and steal someone else's life." "Shut up, you can fool yourself with those words, but you won't fool me. Anyway, I've already absorbed enough energy through your jade Buddha. Starting today, I will replace you and become the young lady of the James family, while you take my secret and disappear forever." After saying this, she shifted her tone and murmured into the void, "System, hurry up and turn me into Mia." I looked at Emma in astonishment. Even across past and present lives, I knew she had a system, but witnessing her transform right before my eyes still left me stunned. About half a minute later, Emma looked at me again, but this time, her face was completely gone. In its place was the face of an old woman, covered in scars and with a bluish-gray complexion. Emma seemed to sense that something was wrong. She touched her own face. When she felt the hideous scar, she suddenly let out a sharp scream. Then, with a venomous glare, she stared fixedly at me. "How is that possible, Mia? That jade Buddha has been your personal item since you were a child. How could it not be yours?" My expression of surprise gradually gave way to a teasing smile. Looking at her terrified expression, I slowly said, "Who told you that you have to wear your own things since childhood?" "When I was 5 years old, I went to a mountain temple to worship the Buddha. On the way, I encountered an old woman with a fierce face, covered in scars. She calculated that I was destined to face a calamity and took out a jade Buddha, saying that this object could help me avert this disaster. I still remember it to this day. At that time, she clearly stated that she was only lending the item to me. One day, when I see her face again, I can return the item to her. Looking at Emma, who had the exact same face as the old woman, I gritted my teeth, mustered all my strength, and shattered the jade Buddha in a fit of rage. So this is what the old woman meant by return. Even after smashing the jade Buddha, Emma still wasn't satisfied. She said in a chilling tone, "Mia, my life is ruined because of you. I'm finished, and you won't get away with it either. Even if I die, I'll drag you down with me." After saying this, she made a move to lunge at me. At that moment, my roommate, who had disappeared earlier, immediately rushed out and pinned Emma down. "Call the police, Mia. Emma is just too inhuman. She must be sent to a research institute." Damn. I saw her transform into a living person with my own eyes. It was absolutely terrifying. Even before going up the mountain, I had anticipated that Emma would make a move against me, so I had already warned my roommates in advance, asking them to prepare a high-definition camera to save my life at the critical moment. At first, they thought I was exaggerating, but having experienced being drowned in her previous life, the current Emma is only more insane. It's not impossible for her to try to kill me right in front of so many people. They tied Emma up, then they sent me the footage recorded by the camera along with the changes in Emma that I had captured earlier. I asked my father to send the person and the items to the research institute. Not long after, the research results came out. As expected, they discovered high-dimensional technology in Emma's mind that does not belong to this world. Now that Emma has become like this, the technology seems to have died, and they are trying to figure out how to extract it for further study. As for the outcome after the separation, what about Emma's result? Probably, it will remain like this forever. Plus, she is aging rapidly. All the cells and organs in her body are no different from those of an elderly person. If change does not come, then one can only wait for natural aging and death. After hearing the two stories above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you liked this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.